Alrighty. Just gotta go this over here. Gotta go here. Alright, hi guys. So, Morgan had to rush to the pharmacy real quick, so he'll be joining the call in like a few minutes. But, Morgan is the TheZodaicLord. But, quickie update. For people watching this in the future too, if you do watch past live streams, I'm going to be at Anime Expo tomorrow. I am not going to be vendoring, but my little brother surprised me and got us both tickets. So I am going to be at the convention center. So if you find a short, fat, red-headed goth person walking around with chances are a very lanky-looking tall guy, that's me. Me and my brother. So I am going to be walking around. I'm going to be there all day tomorrow. And I'm going to be there. Yes. I know this is like super fucking last minute, but I was told last minute. Pretty much what ended up happening was, again, skinny, lanky, tall guy I'm going to be with is my brother. And he's flying in to LA tomorrow at 5 a.m. and he needed me to pick him up. So I ended up saying, yeah, okay, whatever. And so, but then he's like, oh, by the way, since you're picking me up, I got us Anime Expo tickets. And like, he texted me the confirmation and everything. So we are going tomorrow, but just tomorrow. If you click in my description, my all other art sites and my Linktree link, follow me on Twitter. It is going to be the easiest way to try to catch me because I will be tweeting a lot tomorrow as well as vlogging. So yeah, anybody going to Anime Expo tomorrow, look for the short, bright head, because I just re-dyed my hair, like today. Short, bright, red-headed goth girl with a tall, lanky, thin guy. And that's me! So, I hope to meet you guys. And, if anybody, like, recognizes me, I think I still have a couple of, like, free merch that I can give out if people recognize me. Because I did that at San Japan last year, where I made a couple of, like, pins that had my logo on it that were like, hey, you knew who I was, here's a pin. Yo, Michi, if you could have a meme summarize your life, which meme would it be? Probably the surprised Pikachu face. That's like a lot of my life. I wish I had a goth homo boyfriend. I'm the only goth in my family, but I'm sorry. Hopefully someday you'll get a goth boyfriend. Are you excited for any new horror movies out like Midsummer? Yeah, I'm actually excited for all of those. I'm also really excited. So I'm excited for Crawl, and I am excited for, fuck, what's it called? 47 Meters Down Uncaged. So I love those stupid horror movies, but I am also, I've only heard good things about the Child's Play remake, so I'm excited for that. Fun fact, I never found the Chucky movies scary. Like, they were always funny for me, like all of them. Which is why I liked once they had like Bride of Chucky and Seed of Chucky, which, I mean, Seed of Chucky is trash, but they like went with like a horror comedy route with those. That made me really, really happy. So I am very excited to see Child's Play, but I'm probably going to end up seeing that myself. I know me and Aerofx are going to go see Crawl when that comes out, and we're probably going to see 47 Meters Down Uncaged. But I am very excited for Midsummer. I actually, depending on if it's in my finances, I might actually go see it today. Because I've been wanting to go see it, but I'd have to go see it by myself because my husband is a weenie when it comes to horror movies. See, here's Jujubes, here's my issue. I love the stupid underwater gory features because, like, they're trash movies. Nobody goes to see those movies for the plot. They go to see the animals eat people, and it's so morbid and so gross, but at least acknowledge what it is, you know? It's like Sharknado. People only liked Sharknado because it was sharks eating people in a stupid circumstance. The only ones I'm not okay with are when they're, like, actually based on true stories. Like, what was the one? There was one that came out a few years ago I refused to see it, but I think it was called Open Water or something, but it was like actually based on true events of like what happened with these two people stuck in the middle of the ocean. And I was like, yeah, that sucks. There was another one that was about like a surfer girl who also based on like the ones that are based off of true stories I'm not comfortable seeing, because then it's like like this happened to real people and I'm not okay with that. It's the same reason why I like won't see I forget the director's name, but they recently made like a Sharon Tate movie with Hilary Duff, and they're making like they are making a movie about O.J. Simpson, and I'm like, I'm not okay with that, because you're like taking actual real life events and fucking with it. But I liked the Chernobyl Diaries because that was a stupid found footage zombie flick. Well, what happened at Chernobyl was terrible. They more so used just the Chernobyl place for the setting, and I was okay with that, than them actually setting the movie like during Chernobyl. If this makes like any sense to anybody who watches horror movies, like that's how I love Soul Surfer. That's good, but I couldn't. I know a lot of people say they're good movies, but when they're based off of and not inspired by real events, like when they are legit based off of real events, they mess with me, and I don't like it. Let's see. But yeah, sharks really hurt people, and when they do bite, it's usually a mistaken day. Yeah, no, I know that's true, but that's another problem too. Is a lot of people need to look up that stuff. And a lot of people also need to not be idiots. Because I know a lot of people who, like, they'll do, like, shark cage diving, but they will purposefully bait the sharks with, I forget what the technical term is for the, like, bloody snacks. But they'll bait the shark so they come closer, and I'm like, why are you doing that? Like, just let the shark be a shark. Like, if they're, How's your stomach feeling? It's better, but, it's still early, so I don't know. Oh, you guys don't know, I ended up eating bad yogurt yesterday, and it was not a good time. Ugh. Yeah, I get it, but I'm a surfer with disabilities, so I really felt that movie. Oh, well, hey, that's good. That's a good thing to hear. Like, if that's the case, I'm very happy you loved that movie. And I'm happy that inspired you. That does make me feel better knowing that. Let's see. I didn't know Annabelle was based off a real story when I saw the new... Oh, okay. Like, I can go on a whole tangent about the fucking Warrens, but I think there's a YouTuber called Possessed by Horror. You should check out her whole series on it, like just the Warrens in general. I like the Conjuring movies, but I don't like to consider it as fact because they changed a lot, like with the real cases. And I feel like if they kept true to the actual cases, it would be better. This being said, I saw The Nun, I think twice, and it made me like laugh my ass off. I really liked the first Conjuring movie. The first Conjuring movie freaked me out. The second one I thought was stupid. I didn't like Annabelle. I liked Annabelle Creation. I didn't even see La Llorona because I already knew that one was going to be like super fucking offensive because all my friends told me it was like super fucking offensive. And then it wasn't even scary. They were like, it was The Nun but with Spanish people. And I was like, oh, that's great. Annabelle was a scary real life story. Yeah, but like I also wish, and this is like a nitpick, but it's true, I wish they just kept the Annabelle doll not looking scary as hell. Like, that's a big issue I have with a lot of horror movies when they're based off of real things, is they're like, well, we gotta make it actually scary, when it's like, it's more unsettling if it's actually the thing that it looked like, right? That fucking scene in The Nun when the black mask thing emerged from the floor, I was laughing so hard. What made me laugh so hard, what made me like die, was the fact that it was Nazis that like opened up the portal to hell. The Nazi bombings is what made me laugh there. And then when they find the blood of Jesus Christ that just happens to not be coagulated, they have it, and then there's like this scene where what's his name? Frenchie goes like, holy shit. And the priest goes, the holiest. Like that line, I was gone. I was dead. I was so dead. So hi. Say hello. Say hello.
Hello.
Introduce yourself.
Hello, I am TheZodaicLord.
You're TheZodiac.
I'm TheZodiac. That's who I am.
We were talking about bad horror movies. Yeah,
Fun.
no, the whole reason for The Nun and why, like, all the terrible stuff is happening is that the, like, nunnery, church temple place they were at, housed, like, the devil himself, and then they sealed it away, but then Nazis had to show up and bomb the church. I'm not kidding, this is legit the fucking plot. Like, the Nazis came, and the Nazis bombed the church, and that opened the portal to hell, and fucked up everybody's day. It's legit in the movie. And me and Anna were dying. It was the best thing ever. That movie is trash.
Oh, gosh.
But yeah, so now that Zwody is here...
Hello.
Welcome to the chill stream, ask us anything, hangout thingy. What'd you think of it?
Let's dump our stupid out.
Yeah, what do you think of it?
Now that my contest is finally over.
Yeah, we're finally done judging. Yay!
I mean, I'm not done with it yet because I still gotta organize that journal, but you know, it's okay.
Yeah. I made his mic a little too loud. All right, talk.
Oh.
Speak.
Hello.
Hello?
It's me.
Make it a little quieter. Okay, I think that's good.
Yeah. It's just me over here dreaming of the day Art Fight actually works like a functional website.
It seems like, yeah, it's only the third day, and it seems that every single day there's been issues.
Oh yeah, every single time I go on there to either just check to see if I've been attacked or to upload an attack, there's always an issue. And there's only, I think maybe only one instance where I can confidently say it wasn't the website's fault, it was Cloudflare's fault. But every time other than that has been like entirely on their end. And I'm so frustrated.
Well, I know a lot of people are, like I said, you know it's bad when Twitter's making memes about it. Like,
oh yeah, well that's why I got so fed up with it, because I was like, I thought last night, like, oh great, won't let me upload my thing. Well, it's got to be done lagging in the morning, right? Come back in the morning and no, it's not, you know? And it's either that a page takes 5 million years to load or it just times out. And so at one point it timed out and I got so sick of it, I just took a picture and put it on Twitter saying, I love Art Fight. And all you can see is the timeout screen. Oh,
is that what that was? Okay.
Yeah, I love Art Fight. With my 524 message. I'm so...
It makes me really disheartened. It makes me really disheartened because I know, not just you, but I know so many big popular artists that were super excited for it.
Yeah, and like... God, I don't know what goes into making websites. I usually like giving the benefit of the doubt with like websites and shit where I'm like, you know, I don't know what goes into making that. It could be a lot of different problems, but I don't know. When I am on other websites that also have small teams running it, you know, that also do like monthly events, and they actually have these monthly events every month, and yet those websites are functional most of the time, except for the rare occasions where something happens. And when I'm on a website, again, run by a smaller team of people, and at one point their server just died. Like, it just stopped, and they had to like transfer the entire website to another server. And I don't know what goes into doing that, but they were able to do it overnight. And by the time you woke up in the morning, or I woke up in the morning and I went and checked, they said like our server died, and they made like a joke poll about what should we do with the old server, and everyone voted for Viking Funeral.
Oh my god.
And so I don't know. I don't think it's unreasonable to say that you had 11 months where no one was using your site, where you could have totally shut your site down to work on it. And also, not only that, they've had it for 3 years. All 3 years, they've had 11 months every year where they can work on their website. You can't directly reply to comments. You have to make a new comment and just tag the person you're responding to.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just reply to them directly. What else is there? There's like something else. They have issues where you can't you can't delete old attacks from like previous years, but I guess, you know, that's different, I guess. Mm-hmm. But you can't delete bookmarks. I think if the bookmark is either hidden or if the character is hidden, you can't delete that bookmark, apparently. And I'm like, I don't know what goes into coding a website, but I feel like those are things that are not that difficult to do.
Yeah.
And I also think that those are things that you could have easily figured out during the 11 months no one is using your website.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
or you know what they could have done? I'm just saying, something they could have done to help is they could have opened ArtFight a month earlier, or even a couple weeks earlier, not to post, but to be like, okay, hey, pick your teams, post your references, and then that way people can like prepare in advance.
Well, technically that's what they do, because when you know it's coming, that's when everyone starts uploading new characters and starts like working on that's why I was working on references.
Oh, okay.
So technically that happens. It's just you don't like, and you can do an early bird pick your team, but like this year when early bird time started where you can go like do a poll so you can pick your team in advance, the moment they announced the teams, the whole website was just down. So no one could, because one of the things you need to pick your team is give them a link to your account. Like give them a link to your page so they know who you are. And no one could go get it because the website was down.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, come on. It's just so frustrating. Like, I don't think it's unreasonable to say that you've had 11 months to do this. You said apparently they've had issues like this last year. So you knew the issues were there. And now we're in day 3 and there's like, it's still like, I'm trying to click on like, go to the website right now, and it won't load. It's constantly swirling backwards.
Oh God.
Not loading the web page. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't think this is unreasonable to complain about.
No, it's not. It's definitely not.
Gosh. It's ridiculous. Especially because everything was going fine when people were uploading characters, so I don't know what the problem suddenly is.
I mean, I understand the, like, file size thing with how many people are uploading to the site every day. But again, like you said, you guys had 11 months to prepare for this and to make, like, backlogs of stuff.
Yeah, and there are websites. And again, obviously comparing, like, ArtFight to DeviantArt are two drastically different things. Because ArtFight is a company that's been running since, like, I was born.
Uh-huh.
And ArtFight's this specific website, because there was used to be a different version of ArtFight, but that was, like, shut down. So this is a new version of it. So this one's been around for 3 years, and it's a smaller team.
Oh,
but
I've never heard of ArtFight until like literally I became.
Yeah, well, I didn't hear about it till like 3 years ago. But you know, like, so obviously those are two drastically different things. However, I upload daily to DeviantArt, and I upload with my full humongous file size like almost every day. So I don't know, like. And then it's like, it's really, the files they require you to do too are small. And I wouldn't care if they were small if the website would function. Like, you know, I wouldn't care. Because, but it's frustrating when I have to go through the work of I have to draw the picture, and then I have to put that picture on a different canvas because Procreate doesn't just let me edit it to a smaller file. I have to like put it on a different canvas and whatnot.
Really?
Yeah, because because I just like I can edit the canvas size, but by doing that, it automatically crops the picture.
Oh, okay.
So it doesn't resize the image; it resizes the canvas, and so I have to put it on a different, like a smaller canvas to get that smaller file size, and then. And I go through all of that work. And then when I was doing icons for my character references, I had to go through all the work of getting those to be the icons that I wanted to be the right 200 pixels by 200 pixels, because unlike most websites, it doesn't have an option to where it's like, here's the thumbnail I want. Okay, now go adjust it. You know what I mean? Like where it'll bring up the picture and you can adjust where it is.
Yeah.
It doesn't do that. You have to make a separate image if you want a different file, a different thumbnail image.
That's so stupid.
I know, it's frustrating. And
it's stupid, and that's extra data going on the website. Like,
yeah, and then on top of that, again, like I have to go through this work to make sure the image I want to upload is the proper file size. And then you won't even let me upload my damn picture because your website's just not working. And it's like, it's so frustrating because I was so fucking excited to do this.
I know, you were talking about it for weeks. Yeah, you were super excited.
And I'm so irritated. I also don't understand why, again, like why the hell, it was like everything, whenever I was uploading and managing and doing all my character stuff, the website ran fine.
Well, like, what's funny is, like, people in the chat are saying apparently this happens, like, every single year.
I know, that's what Quan said! It happened last year!
Which is dumb.
They didn't fix it, apparently.
Yeah,
even though they had 11 months!
Yeah, that's stupid. Like, if this is, it's bad. It looks really bad, is what it is. Like,
I know, and I get it. You are a small team of people, but there are plenty of other websites that are working year-round that have small teams of people.
God, you know what this reminds me of?
That are constantly making updates and improvements to their site, too. It's ridiculous.
You know what?
I don't want to die.
You know what this reminds me of?
What?
It reminds me of the fact that, ironically enough, I was talking about Anime Expo before, like you popped in, but at AX, everybody, I know other conventions get complained about security too, but Anime Expo is notorious for having terrible security, and that's because, excuse me, to cut costs, now, to be fair, I didn't go last year, but I went the year before that, so I wasn't there the famous year that the guy had sex with the hentai doll that was all over the internet last year. But I know that every year I had gone, pretty much if you didn't see someone in a yellow shirt, like who actually looks like a security guard, they weren't actually getting paid. They were getting paid in free badges. So half of those people didn't care and or didn't know anything, because they were just like, yeah, if I do this for 4 hours, I get a free 4-day pass. Like, I had friends in high school do that stuff. And then people complain about the security and complain about all the issues. And it's like, well, you know, maybe if you actually paid for proper security, because you can afford it, because you're a big enough company. Because, let's be honest, with Art Fight, it's gotten so big that they can afford to hire on more people. Like I said, there are so many people talking about it now.
They work off of donations. And a lot of people donated money to it.
Yeah, so
it's just, it blows my mind because I don't even understand where that money is going. If, in fact, like, and it's not like, here's the thing. It's not like they're constantly adding new features to the website.
Yeah, it's once a month.
I am on because another website I like using is the Leo Den, the one with the lions or whatever, and that's the one that also has like a similarly sized team running the website.
Yeah,
and that website not only has a lot of different features to it. Every single week they give updates about like any bugs they've fixed. They give updates about new features they've added. They give updates about like new things they've added. All this sort of shit. Art Fight doesn't do that. Art Fight has been the exact same thing all 3 years, just with a different theme.
That's just like, you know, everybody shits on DA, but whenever DA does an update, they give you a little header update notification. Like,
yeah, and they like talk about if there's and also that's another thing that's really frustrating about Art Fight is it's not like they really advertise to people, hey, we're having a problem, or hey, this is the problem, or hey, we fixed the problem. To find that information, you have to go to Twitter, or you have to go to like their Discord, which I don't even want to touch their Discord. But
oh my god, yeah, no,
you know, because it's so huge.
Like Twitter, I hate, but I can understand Twitter. Whenever people are like, go to my public Discord where there's like thousands of people in it, it's like, yeah, no, I'm good.
Yeah, and it's like, because I just have to occasionally, whenever the website's being buggy, I have to go to Twitter to see if anybody else is having the same issue. And that's fucking painful because when I look up when I look up things that are just like tagged with art fight, I get so many accounts that put art fight in their nickname with unrelated tweets.
Oh no!
And I'm like, no, I just want to fucking know if there's an issue or if it's just me.
Oh, I see what you're doing because I just opened up Twitter. Oh, this sucks. Why are you doing this?
It's like it's so fucking annoying, and I'm just so irritated because I want to do it, and I have other people who've made art for me that I want to attack back, but because the fucking website is being stupid, I am like losing the motivation to.
Exactly, and it's like, and you can attack back, but you're not getting the info to do it.
No, I'm not. I can't attack back because the website won't load.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
and I'm so flipping irritated. I have another picture that I finished last night, and I can't post it, and that's infuriating to me.
Mm-hmm. Well, it also sucks because there's like a couple people I know who like they work in the industry and they wanted to do art fight just to do a couple of them, and they're saying the same thing. They're like, I only have 2 days off in a week, and I can't even like upload the site to get some references to attack people on my days off, and then post them on the corresponding days, because of the fact that they're like, I work, I can't just sit at my computer constantly refreshing, hoping I can post this thing.
Mm-hmm.
So what I've seen a lot of people doing, at least today, was I saw a lot of people posting their attacks to people.
No, I know that, but I can't do that because I don't know these people's others' accounts.
I know.
And now the fucking website loads when I'm not on my iPad to post this stupid I'm so angry right now. I need to calm down. I'm so angry right now.
Just breathe.
Because it finally fucking loaded, and I'm not on my iPad, so I can't. I was just trying to load it because I wanted to prove a point, and now it's fucking loaded, and I don't have the image, so I can't go post anything.
I wonder if it's a tablet thing, or is it the...
Lizzie Rob. I know they have a Discord. I don't want to touch huge Discords.
Yeah, I'm the same way. You get lost in huge Discords. There's no point.
And I'll end up muting it, and it won't even matter that I have it.
Yeah. Because I've had to do that too.
If the website's fucking working, I'm getting my iPad because I'm uploading this stupid picture while I have a window. I'm so irritated.
Run! No, Gunmoon. Apparently they get paid in donations, and people have admitted that they do donate a lot to it. So, yeah, they don't get paid for it, but they are getting paid in donations. So they are getting some money from it. It's not just entirely free. It's working! Run! To answer the questions before the art fight rant, yes, I saw Hush. I did love Hush. I think it's a great movie, and I think a lot of people should go see it. Is it not loading again?
No, I'm just like, they have fucking $11,000 in donation.
That's
like, that they have a lot of money in donation. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Dog.
Everyone is trying to test your patience today.
I'm just so nice picture for somebody.
Let me be nice, god damn it.
Just let me post art for the nice people who fucking made art for me. Oh, and of course now it's not gonna load. Because why would it load now? That's so ridiculous, Morgan. Why would it load now? I'm so angry, and
everybody is like, they have angered the Lord.
I'm just so fed up with this shit.
Mm-hmm.
And I was so excited to do it, but I can't. Like, I can't do it if it's gonna keep doing this all month.
Yeah, there's no point. There's literally gonna be no point if...
It's not worth it.
It's not worth the stress. It's... That's the thing, because that is another thing. It's like, art fight's meant to be this fun, stupid thing. At this point, and it sounds douchey, I would say give it one more day. And if it's still constant tomorrow...
Well, I'm gonna give it a week. It's like, but by the time, if I go on my... Like, honestly, because in a little bit, in a week or so, I'm going on a vacation to Oh, okay. And I swear to God, if I come back and it's not fixed, I'm done. I don't care. I can't do any more art for people because it's bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, hell, at that point, just open up for fucking art trades. Like, I know it's not the same, but that's how I see it. Like, there is no point.
I know, and like at one point I was able to post a picture, but it took me about like an hour because everything kept like being super slow with the loading. Oh, 524 error. Timeout occurred. Anyway, I'm done. Let's talk about something else. I'm so sick of this.
Did that really just happen?
Yeah, just on my iPad. 524 error.
Oh my god. You know, I want to test something. One thing, and then we can stop the art fight thing.
Yeah, I just like derive the conversation because I'm so physically angry at this.
How was Spoderman without spoilers?
It was a good movie. Would recommend.
Okay, without spoiling it, this is a yes or no question. Does it set up? I think it's the phase 4, or is this the end of phase 3?
What does that mean?
Oh, okay. So, phase 1 was like the first Avengers movie. Phase 2 was the second Avengers movie. Like the arc of movies leading up to it. So
I have no idea where they start and stop, so I couldn't tell you.
Okay, never mind that.
I will say again, like I said to you before on Discord, the first end credit scene that happens like right after the movie's over, that one makes you like, oh shit. And then and they also have like a really fun little Easter egg in there. But then the second one, like after all the credits are over, is it's really funny.
Okay, that's good to know. That's good to know. All right, guys. So, not art fight questions. What do you want to ask the Zodiac and I? You can ask us literally anything.
Yes, please ask me anything, and like so I can stop being physically angry at this stupid ass website that like does not seem to know how to like manage their time properly.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess I have a topic while we wait for the chat to catch up to what we're talking about. So, I was helping Morgan do his contest entries.
Screams.
And after talking about it and doing a lot of stuff, I have decided that in December, I am going to host my own contest, but it's going to be on DA. I'm not putting it on YouTube because that's going to be hell. I hate to be that person.
Listen, it's so much easier to keep up with it on DA.
It is. And
so much easier.
It is. And so I will be doing an art contest that is a create your own mage or demon contest for my stuff. There will be more info, obviously, in December when I make the announcement for it. But yeah, there's some incentive to go follow me on DA and realize that it's not a shithole website because there are so many other worse websites out there. Oh, we just learned.
As example, as I'm trying to load this stupid webpage again, because you know what? If I can manage to upload a singular picture, I'll take it. A single picture of a fucking dragon face. That's all I want.
Let me post my dragon, goddammit!
Let me post the fucking dragon. Just please.
Oh yeah, God. Sure, Elizabeth. If we can answer it, go ahead. Ask the question. Oh, also, okay, I don't want to have to say this, but I kind of have to say it. No extremely personal, touchy subjects for questions. Like, I am pretty blunt and I'm pretty open about my opinions on things, but there are some things that you just don't ask in public, so don't be one of those. Not just to you, this is to everybody. Because I've been a part of a couple of other Q&As where some people out of nowhere bring some really, really not safe for work, not safe for, like, conversation things just up, and it's like, oh. No, art fight is not a sensitive thing. Sensitive topics are like, well, sensitive topics. Art fight is supposed to be a fun art website where you fight each other with gift art.
Yeah, that happens only 1 month of the year. And they have 11 months to make their site better, and they don't.
Okay, if I had to spend a day with one of my OCs, who would it be? I would have the most fun at Ringmasters because, like, his whole circus is a little carnival, and he's nuts. So, like, I'd have more fun with him. Tetsu would not like me. Not in a mean way, because she likes everybody, but I'm a very crass, blunt person, and she is very much a lady. So I would like to spend time with her, but I would also be like, cook for me. Let's see. And I know, even though I love my lit boy, I would hate being in a room with him when he's 14. Because he's that teenager. I would just be like, okay, I just want to go.
It's just like, all right, son. Like,
yeah,
you
just
do
like,
that.
yeah, you're, ooh. Yeah, okay. How about you?
Now it's like actually somewhat functioning. This is magical.
Let's see. When are you going to do part 2 of the Crackland breakdown?
We need to do that.
I mean, you want to do it now? Where did we leave off?
We can. It's just we got to make sure that everyone else is okay. If that's because honestly, if we start doing it, that's going to be the rest of the stream.
It pretty much is because that was a long time ago.
So take a vote. Would you guys like us to just like spend the rest of the stream recapping our roleplay nonsense?
Or do you, yeah, because
rather us actually talk about relatable things
and questions. So part 1's on Zodiac's channel from months ago.
Mm-hmm.
It was months ago.
Oh, it was months ago.
Okay, I have to
use. It happened very spontaneously.
Right, so I have to use the bathroom real quick. Everybody who is okay with the Crackland recap roleplay, type Crackland in the chat, and I will be right back. If not, just put questions, and that'll like debate it. So questions if you want to keep it as us questions and rambling, and Crackland if you want Crackland. I will be right back. Gotta use the bathroom. Morgan, preoccupy them.
I'm trying while also simultaneously attempting to upload this character. Crackland, questions, Crackland. Recap, Crackland. Question. Pyth, you can't keep saying questions. That doesn't count. That you're one person. No, Pyth, that's not how voting works. Trying to like keep up with things and exclude the repeat answers from the same people. Cough, cough. Well, that's what you get for just spamming questions over and over, Pyth. The rule is no spam. So take that. Oh my god. Stupid website.
Boy. Okay, what won the topic?
It seems like more people want questions.
Okay.
Despite Pyth spamming questions over and over, taking her repeat answers out, it seems like most people want questions.
All right. Questions it is. We'll have to do Crackland I guess on your channel some other time.
We gotta actually like make a stream dedicated to it. We can't just do it spontaneously.
No, that's what I'm saying. Well,
I don't know. People can ask questions about Crackland, I guess, but we just won't do the recap.
Yeah.
Also, I'm still about to pull my hair out at this stupid lag shit.
Favorite Marvel movie? The first X-Men movie. And not First Class. There's a lot of Marvel movies.
I did. Yes, you did, Pyth. You spammed. There's literally a part where you said questions twice, and the only thing dividing those two answers was one person between you. Mitch, you can scroll up and see
I am. Because Pyth has a wrench, so it's calling her out.
Indeed.
All right.
Oh my god, it was working 2 seconds ago. I'm sorry, I'm about to lose my mind.
No, it's fine. My writing process. Okay, so my writing process, when I actually have, like, a thing planned out, because, Morgan knows this, I actually have a few stories that I have the ideas just floating in the ether. That, like, I just need to take a dart and go, like, and hit. But my basic writing process is, like, I try my best to have a beginning, a middle, and an end, even if I don't understand how they get there, and I'll write out, and I physically write out on paper because I'm old. I write out the start, and not, like, the full start. I do, like, an outline where I have, like, a sentence or two of a basic thing where I'm like, okay, boom, here's the start. And then I have the middle, and then I have the end. And then I make sure that I'm like, okay, I need to find a breaking point in between the beginning, the middle, and the end to where I can have the flow of how beginning gets to middle and how middle gets to end cohesively. Because I've read so many books that I've become very critical of reading, which is why I've been in such a bad reading slump the past year. Because, like, it's hard. It sounds silly, but when I started, like, being like, I'm gonna finally sit down and finish one of my books, and I did, I started becoming way, way more critical about books than I used to, so it was really hard for me to, like, sit and enjoy a book without overthinking it, and it kind of sucks. Because, like, there was a book I was super excited for, but then, like, I'm reading it, and I'm just like, that's gonna be a love interest, that's gonna be a plot twist, wait, this character development doesn't make any sense for the era they live in. Like, okay, I guess that's a nitpick I can go on a tangent on. And this has always been a nitpick in any kind of storytelling, game, movie, book, show, everything. When there is a rule of the universe, and it is a finite rule, and then the main character, the chosen one, just happens to be the exception to the rule. I'll use a good example of this, alright? So, I'll use my own things. My mages, okay, their souls are constantly reincarnated. They get no choice in the matter. So, you are never going to have, if a mage was to die, but somehow you bring the body back to life, like happens in history, you know, because if we're, like, legally you're pronounced dead for 2 minutes, the body's gonna come back, but they're gonna become a vegetable because the soul got reborn. There's no way that you're gonna be able to have them be the person they were before they died. That is a finite rule of the universe, and in none of my stories does that happen where you
finally sorry.
No, it's fine. Where you don't get your goddamn Tom Cruise sparkle horse moment, okay? You don't get that. They're fucking dead. Because there's this Tom Cruise movie I had to watch in high school, and I don't remember anything about it other than that he was an Irish immigrant, and he was with this rich Irish immigrant lady, and he wanted to have a potato farm. Stuff happens. I think she becomes a hooker. But anyway, when the climax of the movie happens and they go fight for the land, a fucking horse falls on him. This is a legit movie, okay? A horse falls on him. The lady's crying. The, like, thing pans away. And you're like, that sucks. Tom Cruise is dead. But then there's, like, a sparkle sound effect. I am not kidding. There is a sparkle sound effect. The camera pans back to him. And he just wakes up from a horse falling on him. And it's like he and the other Irish immigrant lady get to have their potato farm and live happily ever after. And I remember being like, what did I just watch? And, and it's a real movie because everyone in my class fucking hated it. And all of us didn't understand that. Another good example of something that isn't... okay. I have a good example of it done right. So, in the Aragon books, everybody hated the fucking ending, but I loved it. Because in all of the books, they talk about how there's this one magic spell that if you use it, it always backfires, and the caster always dies. It's repeated constantly. So when the evil bad guy narcissist is like, I'm gonna be the one that the curse doesn't affect, and then he does it, and fucker dies, I know everybody who read that was so pissed. And I was like, no, they said that if anybody did that stupid killing spell, the user died. The dumbass was too narcissistic to think that he could beat it, and he died. It is a very anticlimactic ending, I will admit that. But it's a realistic ending for the rule of the universe. It is such a pet peeve of mine when it's like, or another good one is like, oh, all of the magic has been erased from the world, except for you, beautiful self-insert number 99. You are the exception, and
Whoa.
you can go to the beautiful fairy world.
Whoa.
Ooh. Yikes. Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna yikes so much throughout this stream. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if I'm calling people out here. But if you make finite rule, if you don't want to have it, because it's always like, here's a finite rule. There's gonna be a plot twist. Like, I don't know, that's another thing where I'm like, not everything needs a plot twist.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't mind things being an exception, but like, it has to be something that makes sense, or like, I don't know. I feel like whenever you just build it up too much, where you're like, oh yes, no one has ever done this. Ever. And then you're just sitting here like, someone's gonna do it, aren't they?
Yeah.
You know, and it's just like, at that point, it's not even really fun. And then, like, I don't mind there being an exception if it's, like, realistic.
Oh, yeah. Like...
You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
And it's, like, an exception that's kind of believable in some way.
Okay, so, you know what I'm gonna do right now? And it's gonna piss a lot of people fucking off.
What?
So I'm gonna reference something Twilight did right. So buckle up. All right. So yes, I've read all the Twilight books. Yes, they're bad. They're not a dumpster fire that everybody seems to think. The movies are worse. I feel like the movies showcase the faults of the books a lot worse. But anyway, so in Twilight, they talk about how each vampire has a power. I liked that. I thought that was different. I thought that was interesting. And so, for some reason, Edward has mind-reading abilities, which realistically, compared to the rest of his siblings, that's kind of like the shit end of the stick, but whatever. For some reason, he can't read Bella's thoughts. That's like a big thing throughout the movies and the books, and it's a big thing. And I remember being like, why her? Like, what is this? So... you later find out when she, has... Another thing I liked was that when she does get pregnant with the weird ghost sperm baby, because there's a lot of issues with how the baby was made, but whatever. They talk about how the baby is eating her and killing her, and Bella is still like, no, I want to keep this baby. And so, anyway... the baby ends up destroying her spine and killing her. And so then, because she is dead, she then becomes a vampire. And they explain that the reason why Edward couldn't read her mind was when she became a vampire, her special power was she can create shields. And I remember sitting there and thinking, that's actually pretty clever, Stephanie Meyer. That's actually smart. that
Hey.
made sense for why Edward couldn't read her mind before. When she became a vampire, she can create weird shields, which the shield comes into play in the story and the book. So it's not just a, like, here's a fun fact. Like, I remember actually sitting there and being like, that was you get this one. You get that, Stephanie Meyer.
You win this round, Stephanie Meyer.
There's still a lot of stuff that's really bad in those stories, but I'm saying that was a good case of an exception, because they always talked about how Edward could have been, and I'm like, oh, that made sense. But we're not going to touch the whole, you know, forced imprinting on a baby by the Native American guy, because that's really racist, and we're just not going to talk about that. So I'm not saying it's a good book. I'm just saying that was a good point of foreshadowing and a weird thing making sense.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody gives them that fact.
Oh, goodness.
And so, Jesus, yeah. So there's that. But I'm trying to think of another really bad example of a, like,
Look, you're the chosen one.
Question: how do you transition to a character you haven't met yet without it seeming stupid? Like, what do you mean?
Depends on the context.
I mean, it's really easy if you're doing a multiple point of view story. Because then you just end a chapter and start the next chapter with the next person.
Or you just introduce the character and have the character who doesn't know them learn who they are. I don't know. I don't know the context here.
What are some tropes that annoy the heck out of you? Oh! Okay.
Oh, Lord.
So! Alright.
Did you find a new one? Is that what this is?
Oh, it's not a new one. It's just it opens salt into that fresh wound that you and I know what I'm talking about.
Oh.
So, I am sick and tired. Tired. Okay?
Yes.
Of the I'm not like other girls.
Oh, no, I am too.
Like, I've seen it so much. And someone pointed out so perfectly on Twitter that made me scream. And it was, I really hate that, you know, if we give...
One second. I'm going to close my door real quick.
Okay. I will wait. I will wait. Gotta wait for the boy to get back and sit down.
Sorry, my mom was having a conversation, but it was very loud, so I don't know if the stream could hear it, but I could hear it, and it was, like, distracting me.
No, it's fine. I understand. I have the same way. So, someone pointed out this perfectly on Twitter, and it made me hate that trope so much more. And you know what it was? We don't have to give a girl personality if we give her a sword. Someone said that, and it fucking triggered something in my brain, and I started going through all of those tropes, and I'm like, oh my god, you were right. Why do I have to give a character backstory, motivation, and personality when here you go, pretty girl, here's a sword. There's your personality.
Well, it's also, like, the fact, too, that,
why does that fit? Right? I saw it made me so mad.
Well, I also, like, I've noticed it too, because honestly, I will say this. I have noticed a lot that, you know, a lot of these issues with these tropes happen because the consumer base demands it kind of thing. And this is something I talked about, I think at it was in one of my art streams or whatever, about how I'm going to be totally honest. The reason why we keep getting all these, like, really poor representation of, like, female characters and stuff like that is because so many psychotic people were just like, we can't wait for this to happen naturally. We need it now.
No, yeah. No, and
that's why, like, fucking Brie Larson exists.
Yeah.
You know, because, which, like, obviously, I'm not saying that it's, like, everyone's fault that companies can't write things correctly. I'm saying that because people have, like, say that, like, they don't want to support the smaller companies who do this stuff good. They want like Marvel and Disney and stuff to do it first.
Yeah.
Like they want the big companies to do it. The people who may not actually know how to do it correctly and they just want your money. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So like so that because people do that, it's created a lot of really, really, really bad examples of representation because it goes in tandem with everyone's demand. And then the companies are like, well, this is what people are asking for.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's nobody, like, it's no one's one fault.
Yeah.
But it like, that's just kind of the reality of it, is because there were so many people who were demanding big companies shoehorn in representation where it doesn't really need to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Rather than supporting the people who are doing it naturally and correctly.
Yeah.
Then that's how that shit happens, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And like again, I've always been the person where it's like, I don't care if a fucking character is trans, I just want you to tell me a good story.
Exactly. I don't care what's between your legs. I don't care about your skin color. I want to know what the story is.
Yeah, and like, I mean, there's been times where I've been a little critical about like kind of about representation, but in a bit of a different way. Like, for example, when I saw Dunkirk, because again, Dunkirk's whole thing is that it centers around 3 different stories that happened on the same day. And 2 of those stories I was totally cool with. However, the main story that the movie starts with, I had such a difficult time following it because the 2 main guys that you meet looked so similar.
Really?
And I don't know if it was, maybe I'm just crazy, but like when I was watching it, it's like 2 guys who kind of looked like generic white guys with dark hair.
Mm-hmm.
And like, listen, one of them's a French guy, one of them's an American soldier guy. So like, I don't care that they were white. It was just a fact of when I was looking at them, like when I see the camera switch back and forth, because I'm not hearing any voices here, it's going too fast for me to tell which one of you is which.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a little bit frustrating for me because that movie, it just really took me out of the movie. So in that case, I'm like, why couldn't you have given one of the guys, like, why couldn't you have picked an actor with brown hair and one with black hair? Or why couldn't you have one be blonde and one have dark hair? Like, you know, that way when I'm looking on camera, it's easier to register with me which is which. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So in that kind of case, that's a visual storytelling thing where it's just the character, I mean, these are real people, but the quote unquote character designs were too similar for like someone like me to be able to tell them apart instantly.
Yeah.
And it took me, and like also whenever they were in like the boat or whatever, and it was really, really dark, I had no fucking idea what was happening. Because it was so dark and I could like hardly tell what was actually going on.
Man, yeah, that's another thing. I don't understand when in horror movies, I think it's okay for an effect, but when I see things where they're like, we're gonna make it dark and hard to see because it's realistic, it's like, but I'm watching a movie. Like, I know it sounds mean, but there have been times where I'm watching a show or a movie and like for no other reason, like, there's no story reason, there's no cinematic reason. They're just like, well, realistically, it'd be really dark for you to see. It's like, yeah, but I'm not watching this for that. Like,
it's like, yeah, but we're also a third party. We're not seeing this out of the character's eyes.
Exactly. Or when they do the editing of when you'll have a really dark scene like that, and almost always it'll like jump to a stark white scene, so it like hurts your eyes. Yeah.
But like, you know, so in those kinds of cases, I think it's totally fair to critique, like, you know, I feel like the characters look too similar, you know? Because in that case, it wasn't a race thing. It wasn't the fact that they were 2 white guys on screen. It was just the fact that they both looked so similar and they didn't talk. So, like...
Oh, okay.
For a long time, I was just like, what are... Like, who's who here?
Okay, so I have a good example of this, like, done right. Not in the dark thing, but... Because someone brought this up a little while ago, but something similar I remember was... there was a movie that came out a few years ago about...
Also, we need to get back, because I had a whole point about bringing up the race thing, or the representation
Oh,
things.
well, then I can wait for mine. Go for yours.
Yeah, because I was mentioning, because we were talking about the whole I'm not like other girls kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's something, I've just noticed this a lot with some people. I'm not like naming names, and I'm not saying that this is the majority, but I noticed a lot of fucking people who they're like, why do we only have like hot, like sexy women in movies and TV shows and stuff? Like, we need more representation. And yet those people all have characters that are aesthetically beautiful.
Yeah, that's always bothered me too.
Like, they only have female characters that are gorgeous and pretty. They don't have any like actual monster looking girls. They don't have any uglier, like kind of less conventionally attractive women. They just have a lot of really hot, like scantily clad like monster girls or something like that. Again, not everybody, but I've seen a lot of people like that. And then they bitch at like mainstream media for not having enough like diversity and shit. But that's another, like, that's just that's a thing I've noticed. It's just there's a lot of people who complain, but they don't actually write those stories themselves. And it's like,
well, that's just it. Like, I've actually gotten some flack for a saying that I live by, and it's like, well, if you really want to see something so bad, make it yourself.
Yeah, that's how I live.
That's how I've always felt. Like, when I make videos that I want to see, or I would have wanted to see, like, when I needed this in my life kind of thing, you know? And that's the thing, is I've seen some people where they try to turn it around, and they're like, well, that's like saying, if you don't like something, don't watch it. And I'm like, yeah, no, I agree with that too. If you don't, like, there are movies.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean, like, I think that there is an exception in that whenever it's the fact, like, you know, when you went into something expecting a certain thing and it turns out not to be that. Like, in that case, you can't say don't like it, don't watch it, because they went in thinking they would like it, you know?
Yeah, but
I do think that if you were intentionally, like, for example, if you're hate watching somebody, it's your own fault that you're seeing that content.
Oh,
like,
exactly. Like, that's one thing I always tell people is, like, I don't like war movies. I know that some of them are amazing. Like, I haven't seen Dunkirk. I know Cody did. But I had a traumatic experience in high school. And this, like, stuck with me. And we were watching a movie about the Holocaust. If you guys don't know, I was raised by Jewish people. I'm not Jewish, but I was raised by it. And we were watching this movie, and I believe it was called A Wonderful Life or Another Wonderful Life. Not the Christmas one. It's the Holocaust one. It's a black and white Italian movie. And it ends on such a depressing but realistic moment. And then you find out that it's based off a real story. So pretty much what ends up happening, spoiler for the movie, because this is what fucked me up, was the fact that when the concentration camp gets broken into and the little boy gets reunited with his mom, and you think everything's great, and it's like, oh my god, they're gonna live through this. The dad gets shot, and he ends up falling into the bodies of the other Holocaust victims that they just threw into pits. That's what happens. And that actually happened in real life. And it made me so upset. And I had a fuck ton of students in my class who bust up laughing. I am not kidding. They bust up laughing.
Jesus Christ.
I started to fucking cry. My teacher got so pissed that he turned the movie off. I had a full-on meltdown. It messed me up. And it messed me up because of the fact that this really happened to people. So, after that, I openly could not, and I still cannot watch more movies. I can't. I just can't. So, even though, like, I remember when I saw this stuff for Dunkirk, I knew Cody really wanted to see it. I told him, I'm like, I'm not going to go see it. I am not going to go see it because I already have anxiety about war movies. Yeah, and it's called, like, A Wonderful Life or Another Wonderful Life. It's an Italian black and white movie. So
I have, like, because sometimes for war movies, they're kind of hit or miss for me, and some of them kind of blend together a little bit. I know the one that is, like, my favorite is, oh no, I'm not going to remember the name of it right now. Oh no, but it's the one about it's again also based on a true story, like all of them are. But it's about a guy who goes to war, but he intentionally uh what's it called? Like, you know, he intentionally says like, no, I'm not gonna. I don't want to touch a weapon. I'm here basically to be like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to hurt people.
Oh, wasn't that the Andrew Garfield one? Wasn't it? Like,
Maybe
it was old Spider-Man.
Yes. Let me look it up. Let me see if I can find it. But it's
because I think I remember hearing about that one. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was a really, really good one because the guy, his whole thing again, he didn't want to actually fight anybody, but he wanted to like help. He wanted to help serve his country, and the whole reason why is because he was like religious, and that like I have a issue with movies that are like really heavily doused in religious overtones. This one wasn't. Like this is one of the ones where you still get the message, even if like you don't have to be Christian to enjoy the movie.
Oh, exactly. But, yeah.
I can only see the. Okay, I think it's like first one on Google. Hacksaw Ridge, that's the one.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Right after you said it, someone put it in the chat.
Yeah, that one. I couldn't remember it for some reason. And I remember it had to do with the location they were in, as like that was the title. But and I thought that movie was really great because I mean, spoilers, I guess, for anyone who hasn't seen it or ever heard the story before. The whole thing is that the guy, like, kind of after a lot of the people retreat, he's like, wait a second, we still have men we can save, but because it's too dangerous, no one's going back. So he would go back and he'd find the people who were down and he'd bring them to the like suspension thing so they could take them down to get help. And every single time he would go, he'd basically say like, please, Lord, let me get one more. And he saved like, I think almost, if not over 100 people, because he kept doing that over and over until he physically like collapsed and could not do it anymore. And he saved like many people and brought many people home because he did that. Like it's just a really, really good movie that was just a lot different than most like war movies I've seen. Like, and it just like, God, that entire little montage of him going back to save more people and stuff, like it makes you cry because you're like, this is a real person, you know, or this was a real person. And it's like, damn. But yeah, so sometimes war movies are a little bit hit or miss sometimes.
Yeah, like I feel like I should say, because I mean, my stories have war in them, so I can't be like a hypocrite here. I specifically, it's World War I and World War II, and if it's stories that like revolve around the effects of the war, but you're not actually like in the trenches, and that's the main point. Like what was the one where it had a bunch of people in it. I know it had the guy from The Walking Dead, and I think Tom Cruise and Shia LaBeouf.
Tom Cruise is in like every war movie.
Tom Cruise is nuts. Like Tom Cruise, the reason why Tom Cruise in so many action movies is because he's one of the few guys who will do his own stunts.
Yeah, of course.
Like they're like, we don't have to like hire a special guy and do weird camera angles. Let's just get Tom Cruise. Fury, that was it. Like, yeah, I didn't go see Fury, but I know Cody loved that one too. Like,
yeah,
you know, I just, ooh.
Yeah, we were talking about like tropes or something like that.
We were talking about tropes and we went on a tangent.
Well, I remember anyway. I guess if we're just like, let's just swerve this car back into the I'm not like other girls shit.
Yeah, let's go back around.
I like gosh, like that's something I've noticed. Like, you know, part of the reason why there's so many like YA books that are so centered around like a female character who's not like other girls, and yet she's like conventionally pretty. She's like she's as bland as dirt. You know, it's just like, oh, that's why you're not like other girls. It's because you have no personality.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I mean, maybe it's just me, but I wouldn't really care if I watched a movie that had a girl that was like, you know, similar to how most other female characters are, if she was well written and the story was interesting. you know, because like who really cares? I mean, and again, it goes back to the thing we've talked about it before, I know, where it's like you don't have to be able to punch a giant buff man and like knock him down in one punch to be a strong independent woman.
Yeah, or
You like
or
really don't, and people need to understand that.
Yeah, or the fact that like now what happened to being girly? Because like there were a lot of strong fucking, this is a really weird example that pops into my mind, but I love the OG straight-to-video Barbie movies, okay?
You know what?
It is
Princess and the Pauper, that was my shit as a child.
They are some of the silliest, cutest little kid movies ever made. But you know what? Almost all of the Barbie girls in those movies are strong, independent girls, but they don't lose sight of who they were.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Now, to be fair, I only watched up to, like, I think the Swan Wake or the Pegasus one before I got too old for them. Because I heard they have, like, 38 now or something.
Oh, they have a lot. Listen, Princess and the Pauper, though, that was my shit. Like,
Princess and the Pauper was a great one, yeah.
It's so...
like, well, that was just it to me. I remember being, like... I loved... Speaking of Princess and the Pauper, because I know we talked about that one kind of recently, too, but, like... I liked how, like, what was her name? The main, Annalise, Anna something?
I can't remember.
I only remember because I kind of semi-recently
I just remember Barbie. Like, that's all I remember.
Yeah, I remember Pink Barbie in Princess and the Pauper, the princess one. I liked that, like, they had her be a scientist. Like, she was really smart. And she liked gemstones. I thought that was interesting. I liked how Blue Barbie... You know, yeah, she was, like, an indentured servant, but she had dreams, and she didn't give up on her dreams. And I remember being little Michi and being like, you know what? These are some pretty good role models here.
Mm-hmm.
You know? It's not perfect, but, like...
Yeah, and, like, listen, I love me also, like, a butch woman who can, like, totally kick my ass. But, like, they don't need to be that way for them to... Like, again, you don't need to give a girl a sword to make her a good role model.
Yeah, a sword is not a personality trait. Now, you could have... I mean, a good example. Mulan. Like, original Disney Mulan. I really do not like how a lot of people imprint on that movie as, like, she always wanted to fight, and she always, like... No, she wanted to save her dad from dying. That was the whole reason.
She only did it because she didn't want her dad to go to war.
Because her dad was gonna die. Like, he was already dying.
Because he was an old man.
Yeah, so that was the whole reason she did it. It wasn't like, I'm gonna bring honor to my family. It was like, my dad is gonna die if I let him go to war.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Which...
And plus, like, I mean, obviously that movie does demonstrate that she was really, like... not very naturally cut out for, like, the really feminine woman lifestyle.
Yeah.
But, like, at the same time, it wasn't like she wanted, like, I want to go kick men's asses and, like...
Yeah, it was more so just, like, the extreme. She wasn't ready to be, like...
She was just kind of in the... She's in that weird place where it's like, I'm not, like, super feminine woman, but I don't want to be a guy, you know?
Yeah.
I only have to because my dad's gonna die. And I love my father.
Yeah, and now I'm so far in, if I get caught, they're gonna kill me.
Yeah, what happened here?
So it's like they even said the only reason they didn't kill her was because she saved Shang. He literally said, he's like, a life for a life. And they didn't give her supplies, they just left her there. So it wasn't like, okay, we'll go drop you off at the nearby town. It's like, all right, we're not gonna kill you.
Like, that's your reward here. Which is also, like, again, it's so ironic that movie was pretty historically accurate.
Yeah.
You know, like, obviously there's some, like, little bit of I mean, I'm pretty sure the Huns didn't have, like, black scleras and, you know.
and pop out of the snow. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's still, like, it was still pretty, like, accurate to what the time period it was. It didn't dance around the more, like, unfortunate parts of that time period because we don't want to, like, make anyone feel bad or whatever.
Yeah, and, like...
It's like, that was just how history was.
And another thing I liked, too, with Mulan was the fact that, like, Shang's army sucked. That was, like, the whole point. Like he had to beat into all of them to be decent soldiers. Not even amazing. They just had to be decent.
Yeah, well, it's like, because the whole point, too, is that they needed more soldiers, so they had to people to do it. Yeah, so none of these guys knew how to fucking fight.
Yeah, they had to do a they had to do a realistic draft.
Yeah, they had to do, and then they had to go to boot camp, basically.
Yeah, and, like, that movie was... You know, that's why, but, like, that's another thing, too, is people are like, oh, it was good character design. I'm like, no, that was realistic. If you were the only boy, you were the only male born, didn't matter if you were a midget or a really fat guy, you were going into the military. You know? Which why, and I hate to say it, the remake, the more and more I hear about it, makes me upset. Because now they're like, we got rid of Mushu and now she has a pet phoenix.
Yeah, I know, I heard about that.
I'm just like...
It's like, this isn't a remake, this is just your own version.
Which is fine, but...
Yeah, just stop calling it a remake to try and bank on the Disney crowd.
Yeah, like... Because, I'll be honest, I like Maleficent. I am very skeptical at why they're making a Maleficent 2 now, because they've announced they're making a second one, and I'm like...
I know. Well, like I have my fingers crossed because I loved Maleficent and I wish it would have gotten more notoriety. Mm-hmm. Because I thought it was a really good take on like the story and having it be like having a twist to it. You know.
I did too, and I liked that she was a fairy. I thought that made so much sense.
And it was very. And well, I think in the original story, Maleficent was.
Yeah,
it's just that Disney didn't really emphasize that, so no one really knows that.
Yeah.
But in the original story, she was just another fairy who felt spited because she wasn't invited.
Mm-hmm. Which is also great. It's like, I don't get invited to a baby birthday party? Fuck you.
Yeah. Honestly, there's like even more to Sleeping Beauty that's like fucked up too.
Oh yeah, there's a lot. Yeah, exactly. Like
I mean, technically in like the original story, I think, or at least one of the more original versions, it's not even like a kiss of true love that wakes her up. It's like, it's the version where, you know, passing king's like, ooh, hot lady, and it's really gross. And like,
well, yeah, I mean, in the original story, she has like 3 kids before she wakes up.
She has a pair of twins, and then one of them, the reason why she broke the spell was because originally it wasn't a sewing needle that pricked her, it was a flax seed that pricked her finger. Mm-hmm. So like it was because one of the babies sucked on her finger and basically sucked the flax seed out, and that's how she woke up.
Hello,
it's like,
hello, baby.
All the fairy tales are fucking weird.
Oh, well, I mean, like, again, with Ariel, she ends up dying. She becomes sea foam.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, something else, I mean, I liked but didn't like, was, like, they talk about how, which was, this is where I got a little bit of my own inspiration from some of my stories, was the weird realism of it. Where it's like, okay, you never had legs. Well, if you want legs, everything you walk on feels like broken glass. Because you were never meant to have legs. You know, it's like little things like that where it's really fucked up, but it's like, ooh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love, like, I need to go back. I had a book, I don't know where it is, but I had a book that was, like, just a collection of, like, all the old Grimm's fairy tales. Mm-hmm. And I need to go back and, like, continue reading that, but I've, like, forgotten where it is. Like, I don't know. I'm just frustrated that we're in an era right now that to think that like to have a strong independent woman they got to be able to like kick ass and like, which also is fine. It's just like you can have a character be feminine and you can have a woman be girly and conventionally pretty and still be a strong independent woman.
Oh yeah, like okay. So on this same topic, all right? I keep hearing people talk about, like, all right, Disney, when are we gonna have a fat princess? And I always say back to that, you need to make it be realistic. If you want to have an overweight princess, you can't have her also be, like, a swashbuckling badass, because it's not gonna make sense for the time.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, like, you could to be honest, realistically, a lot of the princess they've already had. I mean, I don't even mind if somebody wants to kind of like kind of nitpick a little bit on the fact that like technically, in old era princess, if they were born and raised a princess, would be on the chubbier side.
Well, yeah, because you could afford to be fat.
Right, but even then, like, characters like, you know, why am I Cinderella? You know, like she was raised, she was treated like shit. You
Yeah.
know, constantly working, and then like Snow White was also not treated very well. So it's like it's not like they would be very chubby realistically, but like you know, I mean, because I don't have anything opposed to that. I just think it's ridiculous when people have these expectations of like I want a fat character, but they want a character that's like unrealistically like active and you know, like you said, like swashbuckling fat woman. Which here's the thing: there's a difference. I should clarify this. There's a difference between looking on the heftier side and being fat.
Yes.
There's a difference, people.
Very much so. I am a very squishy fat person. I'm working on it, but that's what I am. Yeah, realistically, if I was in a fight, I would probably have to tap out within a few minutes.
Yeah, it's so... And also, like, even then, too, technically, just because you're skinny also doesn't mean you're healthy either.
Oh, exactly.
There's quite the balance to it.
Yeah.
And obviously, it's different. Like, I agree with the statement to the point where it's like, you know, for example, there's actually people who've talked, which I wish people would talk about it more, but I've read about this and all this stuff. The fact that, like, what you'll see in movies when guys have, like, the really defined tone abs, they have those actors basically dehydrate themselves to get that.
Yeah,
that's not a healthy body.
Yeah, or they have to paint details on it. Like they have to contour your skin.
Well, it's like there's male actors who've talked about films they've been in where they've had to basically kind of risk their lives to look the part. So first of all, if you think that abuse of actors only denotes to women, you're incorrect. And to deny that fact, you're basically saying you just don't care if a male actor dies so you can get some hot, so you can get some sexy abs on screen. But because I've read about that, it's really fucked up. But to be honest, a healthy human body is one that's actually a little bit on the thicker side.
Yeah.
You know, not too much, but just a little bit. And usually a naturally strong body is kind of more leaning towards the dad bod kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, exactly.
You know, where you have a bit of weight to you, not enough to where you're obese, but you have a little stomach pooch. Because that translates in muscle and things like that. You know, the healthy body weight isn't the really skinny with really defined muscles.
Yeah.
Well, technically, you're not supposed to see your muscles that much.
Yeah, and that sort of thing, too, is, a lot of bodybuilders are not as strong as people think they are. The hardcore, look like you can squish a man with your thighs people. Because you're doing so much damage to your muscles that, it's one of those things, you have to now keep up that lifestyle or else your muscles might break. Or not break, they might tear. But,
and
Maui's
ideal for muscle man. Yeah, exactly.
No, that's true. Exactly.
Well, that's why when you see the really not the bodybuilders where it's they're they look super oily and stuff, but when you see actual weightlifting competitions, that's why all those guys look like they somewhat have Shrek bodies.
Yeah, they're farm boys.
Yeah, because that's why they look like they look almost pudgy. Because that's actual strength, and that goes the same for women as well, you know?
Yeah.
That's why there's a lot of women weightlifters who also look a little bit on the larger, chubbier side of things. So there's a balance to it, and I won't disagree that some people don't understand that just because you look slim does not mean you're healthy, and that some people are naturally on the kind of chubbier side, and that's they're healthy. Yeah. You know, it depends on what body type you have and all that stuff. For example, if you have if you have a pear shape, for example, it's totally normal for you to have a little bit of a pudgy tummy or a little bit larger thighs. Or whatever. If you have a round body type as a woman, you're not to get your waist to be super skinny and like conventionally pretty would be unhealthy for you. You know, which sucks that society has kind of programmed us to think otherwise.
Yeah.
But my point is, while I totally believe that and I talk about that, I don't agree with the people who say that you can be morbidly obese and be healthy, because no, you can't.
No, I completely agree with that. I'm like, no, it's terrible. Your joints go bad. You know, you have the fear of diabetes. There's so many terrible things to go wrong to it. And I heard a good word of advice from someone once that was very true. And it was like, you can be 100 pounds overweight, but once you're at 200 pounds overweight, that's no longer a health issue, it's a mental issue. And I completely agree with that, because I will admit, even though I was always a chubby person, I was always a big person, even at my healthiest when I was very active, I gained an eating disorder, and it sucked, and it wasn't fun. And I'm paying for it now, but you need to acknowledge that. And I think that's the big problem is, I do think you should love your body, but you should strive to be healthy, but also have realistic expectations.
It's like, it's why I like the phrase that, it's just like, yes, you should love your body. You should love it in the way that you want to make it better. You know, and not just be like, well, I'm gonna die at 30 because of my weight. I love my body, you know, but so that's why it shouldn't change.
Yeah, and I don't like the people who use the excuse of like, well, it's either, you know, I live till I'm 90 or I can die at 50, but no, I enjoyed cake. And it's like, you know, you're not going to live well, right? Like, it's not a happy living at that point. But anyway, another thing was, we got a question earlier that kind of has to do with this topic and everything, and it's shoehorning things in. So they were talking about Frozen 2. Now, I am actually excited for Frozen 2. I did like Frozen.
I'm actually like oddly intrigued. You know?
I am worried, however. I am worried because a lot of people, including Idina Menzel, are like really, really pushing for Elsa to have a girlfriend. And I'm only worried because I'm like, if you do it right. Please.
That's how I feel about it. Like, I'd be like, hell yeah for lesbian Elsa, but also like, oh goodness.
Because like some people have been like analyzing the trailer, and like that fire thing like turned into a heart. And so a lot of people were like, oh, what if she gets a spicy hot fire girlfriend? And I'm like, just make it work. Just make it work.
Just make it natural. That's all I can hope for.
That's all I care about. Like, especially with Frozen, because the fact that in its own universe, they made fun of Anna for getting engaged after knowing a guy for a day. If you shoehorn Elsa with a guy, it's not going to make sense. I mean, with a girl, it's not going to make sense for her character. In that same aspect, I don't want her to just randomly fall in love with a guy either. I want it to make sense.
Oh yeah, exactly. It's so like, and I will say, whenever I saw the trailer for it, I'm like, oh, we've gone from dorky Disney movie to it's the Hunger Games now, bitch.
That's what it feels like, right? Like
that's why I'm like very interested to see, because like, I mean, I'm gonna be honest again, if it wasn't for the hype, I would talk about Frozen a lot more, because I think Frozen was a really good movie, like just from a technical aspect. It's just the fact that it got so oversaturated with like attention that it just kind of got to the point, it's like, where you're like, please shut up about it.
I don't know if I ever told you this story. I have definitely told this story years ago. So I have a magical story when it came to Frozen.
Oh boy.
So Frozen came out on I believe my 21st birthday. Because let me check out real quick. Hold on. Frozen date. No, not Frozen yogurt. Let's see. Hold on. Let me double check real quick so I'm not dumb here. Yeah, okay. It came out not like on the day, but Cody had gotten me sick on my 21st birthday, and my family made a big deal about, I was really sick too. They're like, you're 21, you have to go out and drink. And I had the most miserable birthday ever, but Cody knew that I'm a Disney tard, and he is too. So Cody was like, I got you sick, I know you're having a terrible dinner, do you want just you and me to go see Frozen? And I was like, yes. And I loved it. I thought it was great. At this time, I also worked at Target. This is where this story comes in. I remember loving Frozen. I loved the soundtrack. I loved the story. I had issue with the trolls, because I know a lot of people did, because they just seemed to be there, but whatever.
It just seemed very random.
Yeah.
Well, I think also part of it, though, I think part of the reason why they were there is because trolls are a big part of Nordic mythology.
Oh, yeah.
They're a huge part of it. So,
again, I'm just hoping in the second one, they, like, go to that, so...
Yeah, like, they acknowledge they're still there.
Yeah, you know, but what ended up happening was, while I was working at Target, we got all this Frozen merch. I didn't mind the young children liking Frozen. My issue were all of the teenagers and adults that were yelling at me, the Target worker, about how we didn't have adult aesthetic Frozen merch. Every shift, I would get some edgy older teenager coming up to me and be like, where's your adult Frozen merchandise? And I'd be like, well, we have clothing in that department. No. And this is an exact phrase I was told at least 4 times in my entirety working at Target selling Frozen stuff. You don't understand? Elsa is me. And, like, when you're just getting paid minimum wage to fold clothes and put toys away, hearing these really annoying adults and teenagers bitch at the Target employee for, you only have kiddie Frozen stuff. And in the back of my head, I'm like...
I know, because it's a children's movie.
I know, in the back of my head, I'm like, I am in the toddler department stocking the Elsa dolls. And you are surprised. and like that hype.
I just love the phrase Elsa is me.
That's exactly it. I had never heard that, and I'd heard it 4 times from different people in different age ranges. And it drove me. And then the worst part, while I was at Target, I was still going to college. My college played Let It Go on the pop station. And I loved that song, but it's like, I can't escape it from work, and I can't escape it at school. And
because that is such a good song.
It is such a good song.
It just got sung so much to where it died.
Yeah, that's why I rewatched it this year, and I fell back in love with it because I didn't touch it for like 3 years.
And I will say that just watching the new trailer though is so funny to me, because it's like, okay, what did we do in the first movie? We learned about that, like, true love can be deceiving. We learned about that love doesn't have to be romantic. We learned that to, like, accept who we are and not hide who we are, yada yada yada. We learned about, like, because also I like the part that the story centered around a sibling relationship rather than strictly the romantic one.
I love that it was family love. But okay,
hang on, I'm not done yet.
Oh, go.
And then I love, like, so, like, that was the first movie. What is the trailer implying we do in the second movie? Well, let's see. Elsa fights the ocean.
I love that, okay?
Anna also, like, literally yanks a sword out and swings it at somebody, and I'm like, oh, shit. Like, what happened?
I love it, though. Someone pointed out they're like, Olaf is only in the trailer in one scene, and then at the very end, and he doesn't say anything. And everyone's like, they learned that no one likes Olaf. I'm sorry. I don't like Olaf. I don't like him.
He just wore off pretty fast.
I loved his song. I thought it was hilariously dark.
Oh yeah, me too. I loved it too. But, like, here's the thing. Mm-hmm. I'm not gonna lie. I think they might have learned that maybe a lot of people really want to see him on screen after the bullshit that happened with that quote unquote short.
Oh, don't you get me started on that, okay? I had people leaving when we went to see Coco.
I remember thinking, I heard about it, and I'm like, oh, well, it couldn't be that bad. And then I went and saw it, and I sat through it, and I'm like, oh, you have to be fucking kidding me. And I'm like, this is painful.
Okay, so they promoted, you know how Pixar movies, because Pike's asking. So what happened was, before Coco, like any other Pixar movie, they usually have a short. They promoted, hey, we're having an Olaf short before Coco.
And if you've ever seen any other Pixar short, they're usually from about like a minute, maybe 5 minutes at most.
Maybe 10. I have seen a couple that are 10.
Well, no, because the one that was from Frozen, that one was about 10.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
So, like, that one felt painfully long. Like, I think maybe one of the longest I can was the one, I can't remember the name of it. It's, for some reason the name is escaping me, but it's the one about the lost and found toys.
Lou! I loved that one. I loved Lou.
Lou was, I think, probably the longest one I can think of besides the Frozen one.
Yeah.
That was, like, at an acceptable length, and that one wasn't nearly 10 minutes.
Yeah. But the problem was, people were going into it, and in my theater, people were leaving because they're like, where's Coco? Like, this is still going. It was, 20 minutes? I'm gonna IMDb this. I need to see how long that Frozen short was.
It was a long one, and it's like, when you come in with the expectation that it's gonna be under 10 minutes, like, no, you can't do that.
Okay, Frozen Fever was 8 minutes. Olaf's Frozen Adventures, 21 minutes without the opening title screen and credits.
Jesus Christ.
It's 20 minutes.
Yep. It was painful.
Yeah, so that was bad. Fuck, what was I gonna say? Oh, one more thing though. I have never been a fan of the fact that after Frozen came out and they had the twist of sisterly love thawing a heart, I thought that was great.
I feel like I know what you're going to say.
What really fucking grossed me out was how people started drawing Elsa and Anna fucking each other.
Oh.
Because they're like, oh, they love each other. And I'm like, no!
No, you've missed the point of the movie.
It's like that meme. It's that meme. It's that meme. It's like, here's the point. Here's you. Like, because I saw it everywhere and I still see it. And I'm like, it's gross.
I know, that is, and although that wasn't what I was thinking you were going to say, because I know one other thing that slightly bothers me.
Is it the Hans-Elsa ship thing? Because I know people did that too.
No, it has nothing to do with that. It's the fact that there are so many people who are just like Frozen was the first one to do that, like, to show that, like, a princess or whatever doesn't need true love to be happy. And I'm like, what about my girl Meredith?
Exactly.
Or Merida.
And you know what's great about Merida? She's actually age appropriate in that movie for getting married. So it made like I love Merida. I love Brave. And also I love Brave because it's one of the few just Disney movies that has a healthy mother-daughter relationship.
I think the reason why she's not considered a Disney princess is original by Pixar before Pixar was bought by Disney. So she actually, I don't think she became a Disney princess until after Disney bought Pixar.
But how does that work when they put Mulan as a princess? I know she's Disney, but she's not even a princess.
Because I don't even know. Like, honestly, I don't know.
Yeah, I love Merida. I love that movie.
I love her.
And you know what? You had a movie that made sense for her not wanting to be married and do all of this.
I know, and I love,
because it made sense with her character.
Yeah, and the relationship was between her and her mom. I love, and it just I'm so, like, it makes me so irritated when people are just like Frozen was the first, like, princess movie where where her falling in love with a guy wasn't or like she didn't need no man or whatever. And I'm like, Merida. In fact, Merida didn't even end up with anyone by the end of the movie, like Anna did.
And what's funny too is, like, what I liked is how it ended with the idea that she's, like, going to court the other guys to, like, see if it works. You know, because it was like, because even I liked that even all the guys were like, yeah, can we get a choice in the matter? Like, I liked that. That also made a lot of sense, you know?
And it's like, I loved, like, the humor in that movie, and it also touched, because I am, at least half of me is Irish, so it's like, I'm like, hell yeah, Celtic movie, let's go.
Cody's got that in his blood too, so he loves it. Like, Plus,
And it's like,
plus the music in that movie. Like, Merida doesn't sing, but that music is so good.
yeah, and I love, like, I just think the story was really interesting, and I felt it was different. And I liked the fact that the story centered around, like, the relationship between her and her mother.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm like, I love that movie a lot. It just kind of sucks that like, that a lot of people forget about it or haven't even ever seen it, you know? And I'm like, Quais.
I want to rewatch Brave now. I love
I know, I
that
do too, but I have no
movie.
idea where to go to do that because Disney's being weird and doesn't like any of their shit on Netflix.
Yeah,
Or,
well,
or it only has like the most popular, like the most
yeah.
popular movies.
Well,
on
it's
Netflix.
because they're trying to launch their streaming site.
Oh, exactly. I know,
And
I hope I just hope it like kind of fails because I don't want to get an account strictly to watch Disney related movies.
Also, I'm a little salty. I'm hoping this is wrong. I was excited. Now I'm salty because it doesn't make any sense. But I heard and read a few articles saying that the Loki TV show with Tom Felton in it is going to take place in the 70s? And I'm like, but Loki doesn't leave Asgard until the Thor movie. Like, so I am confusion.
Yeah, also, I remembered this too. I just remembered this.
Yeah.
I also want to say about, like, just while I'm still thinking about the Brave movie. No one's gonna understand this in chat, but remember how we were making jokes about, like, why do all these girls keep switching to pants whenever they leave tradition?
Yeah.
Merida's a perfect example of how you can be a tomboyish girl in an ancient time, but not have to put on pants.
Oh, exactly, because the dress, her ceremonial dress was too tight. She still wore skirts.
Well, she, like, hated it because it was uncomfortable, but, like, after, like, when she was throughout the rest of the movie, she just wore a dress or skirt that she liked better.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I just thought that was funny because that's something we kept talking about when we were cough cough judging witches. Cough cough, but that was just something I thought of. Oh, I need to start arranging that journal. I don't know if I'm gonna do it today. I can't. I'm going to my dad's tomorrow, so I won't have my computer, so I don't know if I could do it during then.
Don't you have a laptop?
I do, but I don't like bringing it between houses because it's kind of like tedious.
You amaze me sometimes.
Listen, it's really, really tedious, and also because I don't really now because I have stuff in that room. My desk has kind of been taken over by a TV I have in there because that TV's on a stand, and I also have other stuff on that desk, so it's a little bit like crowded on that desk right now.
I get you.
So it's like I'd rather just leave it here and not have to deal with like taking it over there or anything like that.
No, it's fine. So, this is random, but you're going to Hawaii for how long?
I probably a week.
You're gonna become Morgan the Lobster.
Anyway,
it's Hawaii. There's no way you're not gonna be outside.
I know. I'm gonna fucking burn. God, I can't.
Gonna go to San Japan, still being burnt. And you're like, what happened? My family made me, be a person.
I'm burnt. I just. Oh goodness,
No, Lobster Lord. But yeah, it's irritating seeing that, like, they're getting rid of personality traits, but the same goes for like any sort of I hate this word, but it's like, any sort of not straight male thing. They turn a character into like, okay, I'm not going to give you a personality anymore or a history because you have to wear this on your sleeve, but I'm going to give you one extra thing that makes you quirky, so it's okay. Like,
yep.
And that goes for everything, there's a big reason why in the 90s and the early 2000s, the, like, gay best friend stereotype in shows and movies were always the very stereotypical flamboyant fey gay man, which I'm not saying those don't exist. They do, but they are not the majority.
Mm-hmm. And something I've always kind of wanted to do, because again, like we talked about this before, about the fact that like when you're doing a like I've always felt, and I agree whenever I heard the statement from my theater teacher, that if you're gonna do a stereotype, commit to the stereotype. Because if you don't commit to it in a comedic sense, to where it's like everything about them is a stereotype, then the humor's lost and now it's offensive, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm also someone who really, really loves when someone is a stereotype, but the story actually takes a turn.
Oh yeah.
You know? Like I loved, the new Jumanji movie. I love the fact that all 3 of the characters are technically like major stereotypes.
Oh, they're
hardcore. The whole point of the plot is them learning more about themselves and getting over their issues and all their problems.
Okay, can we talk about the new Jumanji movie for a minute? Because I got something I want to say about it.
Yes.
All right. Okay. So I loved and still do the new Jumanji movie. I do. A lot of people kept wondering, like, what was it, man? And the end of the original one, and everybody complained about it, they didn't destroy the game. They just got rid of it. And so, like, I remember being like, no, this makes sense. And I really liked, and I liked a lot. Spoilers for the new Jumanji movie, because I know I'm jumping around. But I like that there's this guy they meet in the game. And they don't really, they get to know him and everything, because they don't know what he looks like, because everybody's their avatar, you know? And so they're like, oh, he's a teenager like us, but then they find out in the movie, he's been stuck in the game since the 90s. And so when they get out of the game, and, you know, they're all like, they're friends and they're better for it, they're like, wait, where's so-and-so? Where'd he go? And because I remember me and Cody are like, he's gonna come out as a teenager, and he's gonna end up with the girl, and they're gonna make the crazy dad be normal now. But, like, they can't find him anywhere, and they all, like, have this, like...
And he went... Yeah, but he went back to the time he left.
Yeah, so they all, like, rush to this house that at the beginning of the movie has... it's like decrepit, it's got a crotchety old man, and this guy comes out, and he's got, like, a wife and kids, and he sees them, and he just knows... like, right away, and they have this really touching moment.
What was the girl's name? The popular one? Because I remember whenever he said, we named my first child, whatever her name was, after the girl who saved my life. And I was like, I almost cried.
No, I did too. And I was like, that's so good.
That's so realistic, and it's good, and I loved, like... Listen, from the moment I found out that, like, the like, snarky popular girl becomes, like...
Jack Black?
Becomes Jack Black specifically, I was like, yes, please.
Jack Black's performance made that movie. Like,
honestly, well, it's so funny, because I think it was a brilliant idea for them to have budgeted to have 4... really, really famous, like, or pretty famous actors playing basically the opposite of what they normally play. You know, The Rock playing a nerdy teenage boy.
Yeah.
You know, Brittany. Yeah, I think it was Brittany.
Yeah.
And then Kevin Hart having to play a jock.
Yeah.
And then fucking, like, you know, Jack Black having to play a really, like a basic white bitch, you know?
Oh, yeah, exactly.
And then having, I'm so sorry, I can't remember her name right now. The girl who plays Nebula having to play an awkward teenager, like, you know?
Yeah, and I loved it. I thought it was great. And the fact that Beverly, that was her name. It was Beverly.
Yeah, that was.
And again, when they were done, they destroyed the game. They destroyed it.
In a very comedic, fitting way.
They did. And I remember being like, I like this better than the original. I really did. I mean, Robin Williams, you know, rest in peace, bless him, he was a saint. But I was, like, the Jumanji movie, I'm like, it's cool, it's funny, but it was never, like, I don't know. To me, it didn't have, like, that deep moment like the ending did for Jumanji 2 did. And I thought it was just really creative, and I thought it was a really great sequel, and I'm very sad that not a lot of people saw it.
Well, I think, really? Did not a lot of people see it?
They didn't want to, because they were like, why would I go? There's no reason for a sequel. So a lot of people...
That's not the impression I got. I thought it did, like, I thought from everything I'd heard, it done, like, bomb in the box office.
It did okay, but it didn't bomb. It did okay. But a lot of people were like openly boycotting it and openly not letting their kids see it.
Well, they're just missing out because it was a good ass movie.
Well, it's like the whole, like, I have issues with the girl Ghostbusters movie, but I liked it. I did like it. I have issues with it because there were some things I felt were a little shoehorned, but Chris Hemsworth fucking saved it. With him being in that, like, if he wasn't in there, I would have really written it off. But he saved that movie.
What's like, that's why part of me is glad I don't really like delving into the more political sides of Twitter and shit. Because like to be honest, like whenever I went and saw Captain Marvel, I'm like, you know what? There's a lot of people who probably like this movie's been tainted for him because Brie Larson's such a chaotic bitch.
Yeah.
You know.
And ironically enough, she was in a Barbie movie. Yeah, she was. Because
here's the thing. I mean, there were a few things that in like Captain Marvel, obviously, that were issues, but like I thought it was funny. I liked the story of it. I thought, like, in fact, they actually do magically have parts where Brie Larson isn't the best. You know, like where she actually does get punched down.
Yeah.
Ain't that shocking? You'd never think she would allow for that to happen. I did like Captain Marvel. I mean, it's not perfect. Right. Know? It's not like, I don't think it's like any, like, I think it's pretty, average for a Marvel movie, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Especially for a first parter. Cause like, I wasn't a big fan. I'll be honest, I don't like the first Captain America. I don't like it. It's fine. It's fine. And I watched it to watch the other Marvel movies. But like, if I have to pick the worst Marvel movie, to me, on my personal list, it's the original Captain America. I didn't like it. And then right after that was the original Thor. They were like, it had funny moments, but for me, it wasn't enough to make it. And I liked Loki and Asgard more. Like, I liked Thor 2, and, like, everybody shat on that one, and that one was one of my favorites. But,
yeah, and I like, because whenever I saw, and I mean, I'm gonna be honest, like, and part of me just thinks that sometimes if people just stood back and stopped, like, watching actors, and they just watched the movie, honestly, they wouldn't care as much. Like, they wouldn't have the problems they have.
Well, that's just it. Like, there are so many movies from not even that long ago, but because we didn't have things like Twitter and Instagram and YouTube and Facebook and stuff, you know, where if you know, you watched a movie for the movie, you didn't, like, I know people now, like, okay, we're gonna get political for a second. All right? We're gonna get political. So, I guess Matthew McConaughey voted for Trump. I don't fucking know. I didn't fact check it. I don't care. He's a whatever actor to me. But I know Cody's parents, who are diehard Democrats, to a kind of stupid degree, in my opinion, have openly said, ever since they found out, they're like, I am never buying a Matthew McConaughey movie, and I am never seeing one with him in it. Ever again.
Well,
and I
sucks
was like,
for you, because Dark Tower was fucking awesome.
I know, anyway. And that's what I said. And I was like, I'm like, really? Because of a guy's political beliefs, you're not going to support him as an actor? And then they're like, yeah, because he voted for so-and-so. And I was like, so does that mean you're not going to watch any more? Oh, I think it's Woody Allen. Let me double check. Hold on. He hasn't made anything in a long-ass time, but let me see.
Well, it's like
Yeah, okay. It is Woody Allen. It's like, so are you never going to see any Woody Allen movie that I know you guys like? Because he legally married his daughter? No, that's right. You conveniently forget about that. Don't you? Which, by the way, that is a real thing. This guy married his stepdaughter that he had since she was like 2. It's really gross. Anyway, gross facts aside.
It's like, that's why I just, typically for me, I just don't, well, it's like when there were fucking people, like, I swear to fucking God, when there were people like, don't you dare support Chris Pratt, because Chris Pratt is religious, and the church he goes to, the church has in the past been homophobic.
He's religious?
And that's why you shouldn't support Chris Pratt.
He's religious? I didn't even know this.
Apparently, yes. He's just not very openly religious.
How does that make sense? Will Smith is an open Scientologist. He believes about the alien lava monster. And people don't talk about that. What logic is this?
Like, nothing about Chris Pratt ever, like, him being religious ever. or anything, it's because it's almost like if you don't delve into an actor's life that much, they're just the characters on the screen. And like but like apparently he is like religious.
Thank you, Pyth, for correcting it.
But like but people are just like, well, because, and here's the thing too, just because someone goes to a certain church does not mean they condone everything that church does.
Exactly. I mean,
because, you know, he lives in Hollywood because of his career.
Yeah.
So and because California is a pretty wildly diverse state, it's possible that he might not, like, that's just the church that he has to go because it's the most convenient for him to go to.
Yeah.
For his religious purposes. That doesn't mean he like condones anything that church did in the past or whatever. It's not like he's in the Westboro Baptist Church or some shit, you know?
Exactly. Which, I mean, perfect example of this. I consider myself a witch. I identify as one. I celebrate the solstices. I do magic. I do that. I do not believe in Satanism. I believe Satan's real. I believe demons are real. I don't believe in Satanism. But I have some artist friends of mine who are Satanists. And we have Morgan, who are you agnostic or atheist? I forget which one.
I'm agnostic.
Yeah, so it's like, does that mean that we can't be friends anymore? Is that
How sad.
Is that what this is talking about?
Well, yeah, it's like, well, yeah, and my thing is just like, I think it's crazy whenever people are like, it's like, well, this, like, you can't enjoy a movie with this person in it because blank, you know? Mm-hmm. And, like, obviously there's different scenarios with that. It's different if the actor, like, you know, if the actor did something horrible, you know, like, you know, that's going to be pretty tainted for you.
Okay, so I have a perfect example of this, okay? So, I am sure you have heard of this magical event called Coachella. Have you heard of Coachella?
I've heard of Coachella.
All right, so did you know that the owner of Coachella openly admits that he takes the money he gets from Coachella and he openly gives them to anti-LGBT corporations and companies, as well as supporting straight therapy? You can Google this. It is out there, in fact, and he is honest about it. And then there are a lot of influencers who find out, go gassed Pikachu face, and then next year go to Coachella all over again.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, you can't pick and choose this. I found that out. I didn't want to go to Coachella in the first place. And now I'm like, now I really don't want to go to Coachella. So I'm happy I learned that. But you're seeing people who are hypocritical about it.
To me, that's always such a different thing, you know? Like, it's different from being like, hey, I directly take your money and I donate it these really horrible, like, foundations and shit.
Here's the reason why I bring it up.
As opposed to, like, yeah, I voted for Trump because not because that means I'm homophobic or something, just I voted for Trump, which, like, you know, me, I've always said that if I could have voted, I would have voted for Trump just because I didn't want Hillary to be in.
I mean,
not because I don't, like, this is why I hate political parties so fucking much. I hate it, and I could go on a whole tangent about it.
I mean, you want to go? What I was trying to say was, let me finish my thing through. The reason why I brought that up is because people put those two things in the same category when they're talking. That's why I brought that up. Because people will compare it to the same thing. But I completely agree. When the whole election thing happened, first of all, I should say this. I couldn't vote. There were reasons going on that I can't talk about, but I couldn't vote when it came around. But I didn't really want either of them to win. But I remember being like, you know what? This is kind of sketchy that Hillary's having people just showing up murdered. That's kind of freaking me out here. I don't really want her to be president. Yeah,
like, that was always my thing. I didn't like either of them.
Yeah.
I still don't like either of them. And to be honest, but in my mind, I'm like, I would rather have an absolute clown be president that most people don't take seriously than someone who people do take seriously who might have the potential to actually, like, start a war.
Yeah.
Or who might actually have the potential to, like, do some really, really shady, like, you know, political shit where it's like, you know, murdering people, you know? Like, just to me, I felt like you know, of the two villains, one of them is one that most people, like even most people in his own party, don't take seriously.
Oh, yeah.
And one's one that is a politician and knows how to do shit. So I'm like, if I had to pick between these two poisons, this one seems more temporary.
Exactly. And just like, there's also so many things that are going on right now with politics that like bother me. Like, okay. I want to talk about Andrew Yang for a second. Just for a hot second. I know a lot of people love this guy. He seems great. But I have one issue. I know this is really weird to get on this topic, but Andrew Yang has talked about the whole, like, giving everyone of legal age who's a legal citizen of America $1,000 a month for just existing. I have an issue with this because he said if
our nation's in debt, what money?
But he's also said that if this were to happen, they would have to completely get rid of welfare, Social Security, and food stamps to pay for just $1,000 a month per person. A lot of people seem to forget, because I've had people who are like in real support of the yeah.
Well, because I've seen jokes about this as well. Mm-hmm. This is the same reason why people are making jokes about South Africa, because the leader of South Africa said, like, we're going to print more money so we can give it to people. And it's like, that's not how that works.
Yeah.
Because if you give everyone, like, the more money you have in circulation, the more the value for it goes down.
Yeah.
So if you gave everyone in America $1,000 you basically gave them nothing.
Exactly.
Because now everyone is $1,000 richer.
Yeah, which means it's also everything's gonna get more expensive.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
It's like, okay, a good example of this, and this doesn't have to do with Andrew Yang, but it's just in general. I live in California, okay? They brought up that they're like, we're making the minimum wage $15 an hour. I don't think it's at an exact 15 yet. I know it's at like 13 something for most people. It is 15 for others. But every year it gets more expensive. Our gas prices go up. Our food goes up. Our housing market goes up. And it's one of those things where it's like, guys, we're not raising the minimum wage. We're raising everything else with the minimum wage. What we need to work on is fixing the problems instead of just saying, well, we'll just throw more money at it.
Mm-hmm. And it's like, that's why money issues is such a hard thing to fix.
Mm-hmm.
Because anyone could just say, well, give people more money, but it's not that easy.
Yeah.
You know, and if it was, we would do it.
Exactly.
And, like, that's why you can't just say, like, well, now the minimum...
Yeah, see, even Angel said the minimum wage went up in New York and then everything became more... It's like, that's what happens.
Yeah, because that's just... Unfortunately, that's the balance of things. If you're going to pay people more, you need to get that money from somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And, like, that's why it's such a hard issue to deal with, because there isn't really one clear answer to fix it.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
And another thing, too, is what bothers me, with just politics and government in general, nothing happens like that. It takes so much time to get put into effect.
Because I recently did a government class for my senior year,
mm-hmm.
and I love this teacher. I love my teacher. He actually made a point to say that the reason why it takes so long in the democratic system for things to get done is because it's intentionally set up to be that way. Because when it takes a long time for things to get done, it means that bad ideas are harder to put into effect.
Yeah, like
he actually made the joke that if you want things to get done, go to a dictatorship.
Yeah.
Because things are going to get done real fast. Probably not going to be the best for everybody, mm-hmm. but it'll be done fast.
Exactly.
And that's unfortunate. Unfortunately, there is no perfect answer ever.
Ever. Exactly. Like, okay.
There is never going to be a government on this planet right now that is going to be perfect and be like efficient and fast and also be fair.
Yeah. And no government is like that. There is no paradise.
There is none. Every nation has its problems. Mm-hmm. Every country, every system has issues. A democratic system is slow, but a democratic system in reality is the most fair to the people.
Yeah.
On the contrary, a dictatorship or a monarchy is a pretty fast working system, but it doesn't exactly care about the little people.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
mm-hmm.
and And like, listen, people can say whatever they want about a democracy. From everything I've like researched and looked at, you know, me personally, if I wasn't living in America, if I wasn't living in a capital system, I wouldn't be able to do art like I do.
Yeah.
That's just the reality, you know? So like, and that's like, I always like to say, I'm never gonna say that America has no problems. I'm not one of those psychotic people.
Oh, no.
You know, I'm not one of the lunatics who thinks that America's perfect and we have no issues to work on. I think our health care system is fucked, and I think that it's pretty obvious by other places in the world that we don't need to be that fucked. However, I also don't think that some people who say it's like, oh my God, it's America's the worst country in the world. I think maybe they should go find another place to live and then talk about how horrible America is.
That's just that. Okay, so tomorrow's July 4th. Tomorrow's America Day. You know, when everybody's gotta draw their bald eagles, eat their pie, and say yeah. Anyway,
say yeah.
Jesus. But what's funny, right, is I always noticed that like on 4th of July and whenever there's the Olympics for some reason, all of the people who at least I personally knew, I cut these people out of my life, who were the like, fuck America, I hate this, we're gonna die, I'm moving somewhere else, are always the people who were like, oh yeah, show their support, let's be patriotic. And I'm like, but you were literally just shitting on the country, like, every other day of the week. But anyway, what I wanted to say was, Leah brought up a good point, was, you know, how, where she lives, they made it so, like, if you work full-time, which is, like, here, too, if you work 40 hours a week, they have to, by law, give you health insurance. I have friends who work at big companies who get exactly 39 hours a week, and their management tells them, if you are an hour overtime, we will fire you, because they don't want to pay people health benefits. Like, that's kind of the fucked up system with some of the stuff we have here. Like, there are issues, but you know what? You're right. I would rather live here than live somewhere else where I couldn't choose my job. Because there are places like that, you know, where you don't get to choose what you do.
Like, and again, it's the idea that, like, you know, one thing I love about America is that we can voice our complaints about America and not have to feel like we're risking our lives to do so.
Oh, exactly. Like that poor guy in Scotland or Ireland, I don't remember which one, but like he made that YouTube video of the joke video.
Guy. I remember. I know exactly who you're talking about.
Where he made a joke video, and it was
a joke, and the joke was that Nazis are bad, but people are like, you're endorsing Nazis by making this joke that Nazis are bad.
And he had to go to his country's federal court for a YouTube video. That shit don't happen here. Like, I feel so bad for what happened to that guy. And,
I do too.
And, like, they were saying, like, okay, well, you can get house arrest or jail time. And it's like, no, I'm gonna fight it. I made a video. So I think he's still fighting it. I think.
Yeah, well, I think, I know the last I heard about it, he lost the first court case.
Yeah, I know he lost the first one, but he's trying again.
Right, of course. It's just so, like... It's just something that I again, and no place is perfect. I'm never going to tell someone that they're wrong for criticizing America, because I do too. I think a lot of the education is fucked up, and I think a lot of the medical system is fucked up. Especially when it doesn't need to be that way.
Oh, yeah. I totally agree. I feel like something that's always bothered me with the American healthcare system is if I go to the hospital and they give me Tylenol, it's going to be like $300 with insurance.
Oh, yeah. And that sucks ass.
And that's not, and that's not right. I should go to a hospital if I need, and I didn't know this for the longest time. I didn't know that a lot of insurances don't cover ambulance rides. So if I get in a car accident, I have to pay for that ambulance ride out of pocket. And I found that out in a lot of places, and I'm like, what logic is this?
So it's like, but that's part of the reason why I think it's a good place to be, because your free speech is typically protected. Not always. And I mean, things get tricky when it's the internet, because the internet is it's such a weird battleground of like what is fair to be, what's protected and what's not. You know, and honestly, it has always, and it never will not drive me insane that there are people out there who, like, you know, totally okay for them to exercise their free speech, but not okay for anybody else to.
Exactly. Or another thing, people bitch about how our immigration process is, when our immigration legal process is a lot easier than almost every other country.
Well, we have other problems with that.
No, we do have other problems. I'm not saying that's perfect, but I knew a lot of people who were like, I'm just gonna move to Canada, and they tried, and then they realized you can't just move to Canada.
Well, you know what's really ironic recently?
Yeah.
Recently, because I recently went on a trip with my dad to like Seattle.
Yeah.
And we were there for a bit, and so at one point we were just like, pop over to Canada. We'll go to this little like this little nature park thing, and then we'll come back. So going into Canada took about like 10 minutes, you know, to like take our passports, give them to the people, and drive through and be done. On the way back,
really,
it took, and I'm not exaggerating, it took us about 4 hours to get back into America.
Oh my God.
Because the line was so long, it was moving so slow. And at one point, when we were waiting, my stepmom ran out to go to the bathroom, and the line started moving, so he had to pull out of line.
Oh no!
So she could come back and get in, and then we had to wait for an opening to get back in line.
Oh Jesus!
So like, that was something else.
Yeah, and again, I'm not saying it's perfect. I'm just saying it is easier than most countries. It's not easy, but then again, it's not easy in any country. Like, that's the another issue I have here is it's like, you can't, even if you have a fuck ton of money, there are rules and legislation that you have to go through to do these kind of things. You can't just get up and yeet.
It's never easy, and that's the important. There's just nowhere in the world that's perfect.
It's almost like life isn't easy.
Wow.
Wow. Holy hell, I didn't.
Princess Puffin, no, that was me trying to get
out.
Getting in was easy.
Well, here's the thing
out was the hard part.
Visiting is easy. It's why people go on vacations and shit all the time. I mean becoming a citizen and like moving there is what I was talking about. I've been in line for 7 hours from Mexico to the US. They were having a strike. Oh God.
Well, it's like also I don't actually know who side. Like, I don't know who's in charge of getting in and out, you know?
Yeah.
Because I think it might be different depending. Actually, I'm curious. I'm going to go look up. What? I'm just going to, because I'm going out of Canada. No, I don't want entering Canada. I want going out of Canada. Okay, hang on. I want to figure this. What country?
What did I buy from Uber? Oh, right. I got tricked into getting a sandwich.
March of
While he's doing this, I'm checking my emails, guys. Sorry.
America from Canada. It's not giving me an answer.
It probably depends on the area you're in, because like it could be.
True. I just don't know, because I think I don't know if it's like which side it's on and which one like runs it. I don't know, but it's just anyway.
Yeah, but anyway, moral of the story: I'm happy that I'm an American, but I'm also sure if I lived in another country that I was born and raised in, I'd feel the same way.
Oh, exactly.
Like, that's another thing.
It's always easier to just be used to how you're growing up.
When
I went to London at one point, I asked a restaurant. When us strange Americans asked a restaurant if we could have ice for our waters because they were room temperature.
Oh yeah,
during a hot day, and the guy like looked at my stepdad as if he was insane.
Oh my God. Okay, on that real quick.
And then they were also an asshole, and they gave us all exactly like 1 ice cube for our waters.
No, I was gonna talk about that. Okay, so I know, like, in Europe right now, they're going through a terrible heat wave. Like, it's terrible right now. But you know what's really sad? If they had fucking air conditioning units, a lot of them wouldn't be in the situation they're in right now.
Yeah, well, it's because they're not used to, like, the heat, you know?
I know.
They're used to having maybe, like, 1 month during the summer where it's really, really hot.
I know. But I also feel like this is 2019. If you are in a first world country, you should be able to get an air conditioning unit. Even if it's a temporary one.
Or at least fans or something.
Yeah, something. I don't know. I feel terrible it's happening. Don't make it sound like I'm being heartless. I feel terrible this is happening. But if you guys had air conditioners.
The whole world is like, it's just the end of the world at this point. I mean, we had the horrible, like, deathly cold temperatures in the Midwest recently.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, they had
and now Europe's on fire.
Yeah. Some don't. Some houses don't have, like, ceiling fans or anything. No, I stan air conditioners. I hate that word, but I do. Because I have done summers. I have done 120-degree summers with a goddamn swamp cooler. And I got heat stroke just existing. It is hell. It is why Cody and I, when we looked for a place, it didn't have to have central air, but it had to have fucking air conditioning.
Jojo Tiger, we're not saying air conditioning doesn't exist in the EU. We're just saying a lot of places aren't built with air conditioning.
They aren't built with it. They don't sell it in convenience stores.
Mostly public places.
Yeah, that too. Like, another thing too is I know a lot of them don't sell it in convenient stores either. Like, if something were to happen to my air conditioning unit, and for some weird reason my maintenance person, because I live in an apartment, couldn't get to it, I could drive to a Target 10 minutes away, and I can get a shitty little box air conditioner that can go in my window. I mean, it's expensive, but you can do it. It's harder in a lot of UK places. Obviously, I'm sure if you live in the city where more people live, it's not going to be as hard. But, like, there's this YouTuber I follow who lives, like, in, New South Wales, I think. But, like, not in the city portion. And, she was saying how, like, yeah, I have to drive, like, 2 hours to find, like, a swamp cooler. She couldn't get one at her local market or her town. She had to drive 2 hours away and got a swamp cooler and had to drive it back. So, like, I'm not saying, I'm not saying, like, you guys can't have them. I'm just saying you should.
Oh goodness, we've like stopped answering questions.
I know we went on a that seems to always happen whenever you and I do a chill stream. We just somehow we somehow get to politics at one point.
At some point, of course. Why wouldn't we? I've just like been throughout the stream. I've been checking Artfight to see if they've improved their service at any point during the day.
Why are you doing this to yourself?
No, they haven't. Well, because I want to know. Because if I'm doing work on more shit, you know, I'd love to know.
Yeah, because I always grew up in, like, middle-class houses who had central air. So I remember when I moved in with Cody and I moved in with his parents, and then we had to house sit, and I was like, wait, you don't have an air conditioning unit? And because where they live, it only gets hot in the summer, and they have a summer home, so they are literally never there. Like, this is the first summer we're not house sitting. And I am so happy about it because it was nice to be there because it was away from everything. But oh my God, the heat. Morgan knows he was there. I could not do anything. And now my apartment is very expensive because I live in California. But you know what? I can afford to run my air conditioning and have my apartment be cold enough that my pets and myself are fine. Same with my electronics. But my bathroom can't get it. So I always am like, lately I've been like, oh, it's not that bad. And then I'll go to my bathroom and I'm like, nope, it is Satan outside. I just had to remember. Did you guys hear about Article 13? Yeah, get ready for a lot of websites to not fucking work in the UK. Because the other websites are like, oh, we have to deal with that? Not, we're just not gonna work in your country, bye.
No, did you hear about the fucking shit that, like, whenever it passed, there was a bunch of politicians who was like, oh, like, we didn't actually want to pass that.
Yeah.
And I'm just kind of like, are you serious? Like,
what's so funny is I've seen memes, and it's so true with the whole, like, Article 13 passed, NordVPN, I'm in America. And it's, because that's what it is. Like, NordVPN is literally, like, you can change your IP address. And I'm like, that's what's gonna happen. NordVPN is gonna make a lot of fucking money.
Oh, NordVPN's business is gonna be booming.
Speaking of, hey, NordVPN, sponsor me. I only know you because I see you on every other YouTube video. I will very happily support your website.
Oh god, alright. We need to talk about something that's not political.
You're right. And hello, Sky, you came in at a good time. So do you guys have more questions?
Yeah, please feel free to ask us about things that aren't politics related if you'd like.
I'm so excited. This has nothing to do with that, but I'm so excited for what's about to happen in Crackland. I'm like really ready.
Oh Lord.
Because
there's so much happening.
I know so much is happening right now. It's Gabriel all over again. But I'm setting it up. So they're gonna get to meet Satan Matthias soon.
Oh boy.
And I'm gonna be ready.
Satan Matthias and his band of two misfits.
Right. One of which who is very sadly sexually confused.
Yeah. And the other one who just has no idea what's happening. He's just along for the ride.
He's oh my god, he's the metal detector.
He is. He's
exactly what it is. It's like
he's the demon detector.
He is. He's like, okay, what doesn't match up here? It's the only reason you're here. Poor Morgan.
That's like that is it.
Cake or pie? I actually don't like cake. I would rather have pie. I like
cake.
I like two kinds of cake. I like red velvet cake and ice cream cake.
I like cake. I like cake a whole lot.
I like pie more than cake.
I like cake when the cake is good and it's not just 90% ice cream. Not ice cream. Icing.
That is true.
Yeah. Unless it's really good ice cream. Icing. Because sometimes I've had cakes where the icing is like just right.
For me, buttercream cream cheese icing is just it is a sex party in your mouth.
Either that or I remember I had one. It was a store-bought cake. It didn't have anything like exceptional buttercream, but I was like, this is like one of the first icing, like one of the few icing iced cakes I had or whatever that had that like I wanted to just eat the icing. Or it's like that I would eat the icing separate from the cake.
Maybe it was because I've done that with the buttercream stuff because it's just like, oh, I get to have my wedding cake on October. I'm like so ready. Because I didn't get to enjoy it on my actual wedding.
Oh.
I got like 2 bites of my actual wedding cake. And then they took our plates away after we did our dance. And we both sat back down, ready to eat more cake. And they were both gone. And we were very, very sad.
Oh.
I barely got to eat anything at my wedding. But then I learned that is really normal for a wedding. Like, it is actually really common that you don't get a lot of time to eat or do anything. So, anyway, we got a lot of questions, like, in the last few seconds. Let's see.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, that's gonna be a long one, so I'm gonna do that one in a minute. Do you have a character you wish had more story time and development that isn't just a main character? No, because if I do, I give him a spin-off story. Hence why Ringmaster's gonna get his own book. So, like, when you're writing, you can kind of do that. So, like, it's okay. Let's see. Favorite Pokemon. I like 3. My top 3 are Chandelier, Pumpkaboo, and Sylveon. Specifically the shiny version.
I don't remember Pokemon names.
How about your icon? I thought your icon was your favorite.
Listen, but that one's a fusion. That was a randomized fusion that randomized perfectly.
All right, let's see. Okay. Wait. Do you have any OCs that are a drag to work on? A drag to work on.
I kind of do, depending on the situation.
Yeah, like,
because there are some characters where I'm like, I don't want to deal with it right now.
Like, I have some characters I hate. Like, how do I describe this? I hate them, but I have to write them. Like, I don't hate them so much I can't write them, because then what's the point? Like, you hate to love them. How do I
it's like you don't want to get attached to them, and it's like...
Yeah. Oh, yeah, there's certain characters I've had to make where I'm like, and I know Morgan said this too, where I'm like, I cannot humanize you, because then I will like you, and people are not supposed to like you.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's always my problem, is whenever I'm like, I'm writing a really, like, a villain, and I develop them well, and then I'm like, oh, but I don't... And then you're, like, sad, and then you just hang your head. Unless it's Solar, in which case...
Fuck Solar.
He has absolutely no redeemable qualities, because he's a fucking dick.
Yeah, yeah.
Because, you know what was funny about last night? Because I told you about how I was, just... for fun, going through my stories, and I was like magifying and demifying them. So I did it with like all of Lunaverse or whatever. And when I got to Solar, I'm like, you know what? He'd be the fucker who would be born a mage but become a mage demon combination.
He would. He'd be a ringmaster.
That's exactly what he would be.
That is exactly what he would be. He would.
Because I'm like, because he's just that fucker. Like, you know?
God, you know, he and Infinity would be the ones that were like pre-war mages.
Oh, yeah. Well, I also thought of something. I can't say it on stream because, again, it's a fucking spoiler. But I thought of, like, an interesting way to combine, like, technically what the canon is to, like, two of the characters both being mages but also being the same kind of mage.
Type it out. Type it out.
Yeah, I'll type it to you. Yeah, you keep talking and I'll
all right.
do this.
But yeah, okay, another question really quick while he's typing this. How would you classify a novel that's a children's book inside an adult book? Can you rephrase that? That's a little hard. I don't understand. Do you read Webtoon? Sometimes, not all the time. I don't read as many comics as I used to because web comics have hurt me, so I'm like skeptical. This sounds really mean, but some people's web comics hurt me in the past where they just kind of drop off the face of the earth for no reason once things got interesting and I get salty. I understand life happens, but it still makes me salty. Let's see. Did you ever see the Disney movie Meet the Robinsons? It's pretty good. I like that movie. That movie flew under the radar. I knew a lot of people didn't like that.
Well, I know like a lot of people know about it when you say it.
Yeah. When you're writing, you get to control the pro tags. Yeah, let's see. Let's see. I'm trying. Calico, you asked for context. Please answer. So you make a character that you hate personally, but not as a character. Kind of. Like, okay. When you're writing a story, you need to have, even though I love gray characters, with the narrative you're writing, you need to have a basic, this is a really hard summary of it, but a basic summary of it being like, there has to be a finger quote good and a finger quote bad in a story sense. Even
there
if they are both. There has to be
a protagonist and an antagonist.
Yeah, you can't have it be any other way. Sometimes you can have it be a flip where the antagonist is a place over a person. Perfect example is
because, well, I mean, that's why they talk about most people, like, get really caught up in the whole man versus kind of conflict, but there's technically plenty of, there's, you know, man versus environment, man versus self, you know, all sorts of stuff like that. So you don't have to always make it where it's like, person is the villain, you know? You can have an environment be a villain. Or antagonist, I should say.
Fuck, he also has white hair.
I know. Well, not quite white, but like platinum blonde, and it's like. Well, it's like because I was looking at him and I'm like, you would have to be a time mage, but she's already the time mage. I know. Like,
I know how to fix this.
I know how to fix this shit. Oh, that's a question.
What?
Mitchie,
What?
which of your OCs would you consider the closest in terms of personality?
Wait, closest
As in me, as in the Zodiac
Oh,
Lord.
oh, like for you?
Yeah, like which one do you think is the most like me?
I need to think for a minute.
Yeah.
That's hard. Because I have two in mind, because they're close, but they're not, like, they're both not. But okay, so if Tybalt and Alador had a baby that was also a guy, that's you.
There we go.
Because that's the closest I could say. Because but like, alright, okay, this is an easy one. Same for me, out of your characters.
Oh, here we go. Let me think.
Because I had to think of some that you know, because I'm like, I have a few, but...
Yeah, well, I have a fuck ton of characters, so...
Yeah, I know.
I gotta think. Let me like go down like process elimination. I don't think, as of right now, I don't think there's anyone in Heaven's Proxies for that.
Yeah.
I'm like, I literally pulled up my toy house just so I what characters I have. So I'm gonna say no on the Mage Masters that I have. Let me think. I'm thinking of it. I got this. I can do this. I believe. God, why do I have so many characters?
Can there only be one of each mage? Yes. And there is never... okay, technically, this isn't a spoiler because it's in the book, but, for some weird reason, the Time Mage hasn't been reborn for 2,000 years. No one knows.
Light Mage.
No one knows why. Yeah, the Light Mage, duh.
You said Time Mage.
I meant Light Mage. Sorry, yeah.
I saved you there.
Thank you. Yeah, no, because Siren's old as dirt. But for some really weird, unknown reason, the Light Mage hasn't been reborn in 2,000 years. Now, at the time of the Marked story, people also don't really know that as a weird thing, because the fact that mages are hunted, like, at birth, pretty much. And some kingdoms, not all, but some made a rule where they're like, okay, I'm not alright murdering a kid, so we'll let them live till they're 13, then we're gonna kill them. That's where the whole...
Then it's more socially acceptable.
Yeah, then it's okay, because their powers awaken when they're 13. And because they're in situations where... Because when their powers awaken... Okay, so let me explain the mages real quick while Modiak... Wow! Okay, Modiak. While Morgan is thinking, pretty much, the mages were created as 7 parts of a god. Just like my world's 7 sins were also 7 parts of said opposite god. The mages being the human link, the sins being the animalistic link. The more id and animalistic nature in humanity. I can do symbolism, guys. But anyway, so what happened is, because the mages are a part of a god, they are the only creatures in the world that aren't demons in known history to carry magic. Elves, dragons, all mythical beasts don't have magic. It is a genetic thing that they can do. So, you know, you're not going to have an elf making a fantasy spell. You're not going to have, because I have kelpies, I have monsters, I have stuff, but they don't have magic. That is in their DNA to do such things. So, with that being said, that you've got pretty much the entire element of a power and a virtue, in basic terms, into a single human being that just explodes on your 13th birthday. Because up until when you are 13, you have no powers. Every mage has a base power, but it's not what you think. The Earth Mage can hear animals talk, and this is something they can't turn off. The Earth Mage can hear animals talk. The water mage can walk on water. Lorelei, the fire mage, can see through falsehoods and lies. So she can see through glamours and falsities. The light mage, if someone was to touch the light mage, they are now forced to tell the truth for, I think I said, like 8 or 9 hours or whatever. It's a specific number, but it's a long-ass time. And you physically cannot lie. If you attempt to, well, one, you're not going to realize it. And if you attempt to, it's going to physically hurt you. So you can't not lie. The Shadow Mage, I still haven't technically decided. Or the Earth Mage.
I thought you said, though, the Shadow Mage, it was because, like, they can't, like, wear things without the color draining from it.
That's right. No, you're right. That is a thing. Yeah.
Yeah, because I thought that was the whole part of
that is Adrian's thing, yeah. So pretty much, doesn't matter what they wear, all of the color is going to get sucked out of it. It's going to be very monochromatic. If it touches their body in any way, it gets sucked out. To where there's a really comedic scene where Tybalt's an asshole, and he, like, has this sash, and he just kind of keeps booping Adrian with it, and watches as it, like, slowly fades away. And she does not like it at all. But
okay, I found... Oh,
did you find one?
Well, I was thinking about it, okay, because I kind of have two.
Okay.
Like,
right, I mean, I had two, technically, so...
Yeah, well, also, I have two different versions of it. I have one, like, because I was looking at Luniverse, and I'm like, I feel like if you put Felicity and Sphinx together, like, mostly Felicity, which is kind of like the sass and opinionatedness of Sphinx, put them together, that'd be you. Or, in a weird way, I also see you a lot like Francine.
Yeah, I can see it.
You're a lot like Francine in a weird way.
I am.
Like,
there you go. So and you made her after knowing me. There you go. What? There's my headcanon.
You cut out.
I was like, you made Francine after knowing me. There you go. There's my headcanon.
That's the bitter truth.
Yeah. So for the So for the Air Mage, I don't technically have one yet. But Alador, I love him. He is, by technicality, a side character. It gets a couple of point of view chapters, but Alador doesn't really get his own book. Neither does technically Adrian.
I found a question about your mages I can answer.
Sure. Oh, go ahead.
Could realistically a mage ever be a non-human thing, not 100% human? No.
No. They have to be 100% human. So even if in the weird genetic probability, if like 9 generations ago, somebody fucked an elf, that family line cannot have a mage.
Yep.
Just that kind of how it works. And since a lot of the world is very racist, it's gonna be a long time before pure humans aren't around. Another thing too is there is no genetic thing besides the pure human side of a mage being born. There's no reason for it. It's literally just the baby that takes its first breath, the moment that the last mage takes their last, boom, you're a mage. It very much can be a curse in some situations. And that being said, it's also what makes their blood turn black, because their blood has magic in it, and also low-key can be used as a drug. But no, of course I don't have a character that is a chaotic asshole that sells his blood on the black market just to watch the chaos happen, because that is totally not something in character that a very, very gray mage I have does.
What?
No. But yeah, a lot of shenanigans happen. So that being said, no. And a mage and a demon having any kind of relationship, technically the first one was Ringmaster in Fear. I'm not saying it didn't happen in the past, but it is very, 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 very unlikely, because most demons don't have sentience, if that makes like sense explaining that. They very much go off of a hive mind mentality. With, again, the very rare exception of Fear and Cassie with the power of friendship. And Lex is borderline. He's like got enough, but he's not fully free. He's like
he's trying his best.
He is. He try. But it's Just that sweet mistress gotta keep calling him back, and he hates it. Alright, so the mages are based off of Avatar. Technically, they're based off the reincarnation, yes. That is true. That version of reincarnation, yes. But, my mages don't keep anything of their past lives. So the whole, like, well, okay, I guess that's not true. They do have small things, but it's not like how in Avatar where they're like, here's the toy test. So you'll pick up a toy that you liked as a kid. It's more like, I made it so, like, the air mages like dancing. The water mages tend to be bards or like music. Often, but not always, the earth mage tends to not eat meat because they can hear animals talk like people. So it's a little awkward for them. Also, I realized a lot of the earth mages kind of have weird social skills. Like, not just Tetsu, I've noticed quite a few of the ones I've made and, like, fleshed out. I'm like, oh, that's just gonna be a thing.
As it is.
Yeah. I can't believe he sells his mud when it's just a drug. I know who exactly. Yeah, it's kind of a given who it is.
I wonder who it could possibly be. Of all the mages we've ever seen.
Also, this is not really a spoiler because I've already done this character in the past, and it's one of those things that I regret, but I love this character. So, Tetsu does have a kid, and Naya is very important for 2 reasons. Well, technically 3, but I can't talk about the third one. The first one, she is the first proof that a mage can have a kid. So that kind of throws the loop for a lot of other people. Because there's another thing I can't talk about. You know who it is, but I can't talk about it.
Cough, cough.
But, and Naya is also the first dragon half-born. So Naya is also to dragons is like, wait a minute, we don't have to be, we can save our race now if we just fuck humans. This is amazing. And
What do you know?
and she all happens because a weird test subject and her mom have a really weird relationship. Because that is something I love writing. Because so many people have told me how they think Tetsu and Ten's relationship is. And I'm just like, oh.
1 second.
Okay. Oh, he gotta go. Oh, hello?
No, you kept cutting out.
Oh, damn. Well, let me try. Hold on. Okay. I was saying, I am excited for when people get to see how Tetsu and Ten's actual relationship is. Because a lot of people have speculated that it's very, like, cutesy, ooh-woo, Beauty and the Beast. And I'm just like, oh, I am excited. But look at Pie! Fucking Pie!
Oh, goodness.
Actually, technically, Melly, you are right. That is kind of how it goes. Except more, like, there is a scene, I don't know in which book yet, because it'll have to be when Ringmaster's, like, introduced, but I do have it, because there's a couple of funny scenes I just have mentally in my head that I have to weave in.
Oh, that's a mood.
Like, there's one where, Ringmaster's gonna be talking, it's probably gonna, realistically when I think about it, it's probably gonna be in his book, where he's gonna be, like, in his carriage with, like, a ball, doing the, like, in a tube, going into another tube, or a tube in his arm, going into, like, a glass bottle, and he's just kind of squeezing it, and, like, reading a book or something, and a certain character's gonna come in, and be like, what are you doing? And he just, like, nonchalantly is like, oh, I'm making spare money. It's not like I need it. And then he kind of just stops, heals his arm, pops it in the bottle, gives it to a couple of his circus people to be like, all right, now remember how much we charge for it, and go have fun.
And remember, have fun.
Because I should say, too, the drug that is the blood, well, it's really gross, because they're just straight up drinking someone else's blood, but it has special effects on people. Because it is magic blood, so a lot of people think they're going on a trip, but you're going on a trip. Also, technically, if other mages were to do it, I'm not saying this happens in any way, it would affect the person differently. And also, the drug affects mages too, so yes, there will be a chapter where Tibble gets high. Because my boy is too trusting and dumb.
Because my boy is an idiot.
Because there's another scene that's going to happen later on. Because Tybalt, again, this isn't a spoiler, he is very, very naive and very adventurous. So he and his friends, they actually help ease a lot of the serious stuff. They're the comedic relief. They're the little merry band of demon hunters and monster hunters.
Delightful.
Around. And so Adrian and Alador kind of know what's going on. Adrian from the human side and Alador from the monster side, because, you know, constants and variables. I did think this through. And so then they have Tybalt, who's the wild card. So there's a scene where they're going to eventually get to a nightclub, and they're going to tell him, if somebody offers you something, don't take it. And Tybalt, being a teenager and a dumbass, is gonna meet someone, I haven't decided who, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna be a mythical
Please,
person.
drugs are bad.
Exactly, and they're gonna be like, hey, you see this stuff? Because the people, okay, I should say, at this, like, club, it's not like how you picture a nightclub, like in a movie, because it's a fantasy world. But they're not gonna know they're mages either. So they're in glamour, so they're just gonna think it's kind of random humans having a fun time. So, someone's gonna come up to him and be like, alright, all you have to do is breathe this up your nose. And Tybalt, being a dumbass, is gonna do it. And stuff happens. And his friends are very angry at him. And it always makes me laugh. And I have had that mental image and scene in my mind for like 5 years. And that's why I'm like, this is beautiful. I need to keep it.
I have scenes like that, but I can't talk about most of them because
I know.
Single tear.
Yeah, but yeah, well,
like
there's a lot of other ones too.
Universe, I can't talk about it because it is like the spoiler.
Oh yeah,
of the story.
No, I feel you there.
It's gonna be such a fucking good scene.
Oh god, but yeah, no, he's just. But that's always been Tybalt's foil, is he is a trusting. He's the light boy.
He's a trusting dumbass.
He is, you know, it's like he knows people are bad out there, but it's also when, like, he kind of finds out his mom had to be a hoe for him to exist. It's like, wait, what do you mean they didn't just like my family and just, out of the goodness of their heart, take me and my mom in?
What do you mean?
I don't understand. That's not how reality works. Also, he will eventually get a love interest. I just have to work her in properly.
Squeezed.
Because his story does need it, because a fun fact about my lit boy is he is a hopeless romantic. It's one of the funny quirks about him, because he's got ADD and other focusing issues. One of the few books he loves to read. He loves reading romance books, because they give him...
I'm still, like, here, like, willing to draw a reference.
I know.
Because I'm like, yes. For the boy.
Yeah, because he is the optimist. That is exactly what he is. And then, you know, I'm me. I gotta tear him down.
Quines.
But
listen, that's like that was a thing when I posted a picture of a comet eclipse and star.
Yeah.
Where like someone made some kind of remark where they're just like like I don't know, like it's like, well, does Solar have any character development? And I'm like, oh yes he does. Like, you just wait, because it's awful.
Oh yeah.
Because like it's almost like when you're broken as children, the other two end up being more mature and whatever, and when you're an adult and that happens, it's a little harder to recover from.
Yeah, just a bit.
Because like. Because that's, like, always the thing I thought was, like, the ironic thing is, like, you got two of these characters who are really edgy and yet end up being more stable than the third one. Mm-hmm. Because the third one's kind of been somewhat in denial for most of his life.
Yeah.
And it's a sad day.
One thing that's also really weird, but I'm, like, stupidly excited about, is how... realistically, out of all of my characters, the only one, or at least the mages, because I have more, but Ringmaster is the only one who is very openly bisexual about his mage nature. Yeah. Technically, Siren is too, but it's before her stuff happens. And so, because another fun fact, because my mages have been reborn so many times, they don't care about their gender or their sexuality. Because they've been reincarnated so many times, they are very much bisexual. And that's also why my boy has some very weird relationships. Because that was also a really funny scene that I've always had. And I've told you about this one. But it's definitely where it's going to be something where someone's going to imply that the trio is dating or something. Especially when a lot of them think that Adrian's a guy for a big chunk of it. And Adrian and Alador both go like, no, I would never date him. And then Tibble gets really fucking insulted. Bisexuality, but on a spiritual level? That's cool. Yeah, okay, because yeah, the reason is, again, because their god is also genderless. Like, their god is a celestial being. So when it just made them, it just was like, okay, I'm picking my 7 most loyal human disciples. Woo.
Ooh. See, you know, we've done Crackland too much when I pictured that in Angel's voice.
That is, yeah. Yeah.
Whoops. Oh, goodness.
Listening to you bean talk is fun. Oh, thank you. The Christian God is genderless. Okay, cool. I was raised by Jews, so I never knew that. Fun fact. What was it? But yeah, what else is there? Oh, I mean, we have any more questions? Because I'm trying to think, and I'm like...
Yeah, feel free to ask questions, because, you know.
I am going to turn my air conditioning on, though, because it's been almost 3 hours, and I am dying. Boy! Yes, I'll get your nom on. Ooh. Okay. Okay.
I'm just like clicking through random bullshit at this current moment in time.
So in Crackland, how do you mesh the worlds together? Oh, well, my gods are dead, so it's kind of easy. That's easy. Oh, okay, but someone did ask. Okay, so there was some I did have a funny idea. I have no idea if it could ever come up like in a narrative sense and flow naturally. But I remember someone asked a while ago, like if Tybalt found a trans person, he would be like, what kind of a hell is this? My world doesn't have hell, but it's easier to say that.
Right.
You know, and it's like, we gotta fix this. You gotta get your curse away. Like, that's not right. And then it's like, I thought about it, and I was like, that's exactly how he'd react. He would go to hell and high water to make a trans person their proper gender and sex, because that's just who he is. He is a good boy. He would probably ask some really insulting questions without realizing they're insulting, because he himself can't lie.
Hang on, real quick. Whisper Ghost, if you'd like to know the answer to that question, watch the beginning of the stream.
Yeah, go back and listen to Morgan die.
Yeah, please do.
Any tips on someone wanting to get into witchcraft? Okay, you're gonna have to sift through a lot of shit. Like, there's no nice way to say it. There's a lot of crazy, weird stuff out there. So you're gonna have to end up doing a lot of reading and a lot of research. And the most basic, easiest answer with witchcraft is really listen to yourself. And if you feel a connection to something in a more spiritual sense, follow your intuition and go for it. That's the best advice I can give, because I have seen some crazy stuff where people say, like, if you want to curse somebody, get an egg, write their name on the egg, and then slap the egg on their car. And I'm just like, that just sounds like vandalism. Not magic. So, yeah, Tybalt...
Curse you with egg.
Yeah, Tybalt is good bean. Let's see. Which would you buy... Wait, more likely to buy? A graphic novel broken up into separate books, i.e. there's 4, but okay. Or a full... Oh, I like the thick. I like omnibuses, because I like finished stories.
I'm just more of a visual person. It's really, really hard for me to get into books. Like, I'm probably the graphic novel person.
That's what they're talking about. They're talking about comics.
Well, I know. Well, it's like, I guess if you were to say both of those were visual, I would say the longer one, because I'd rather just have it all there rather than having separate things. But like, when it comes, if you're just saying like book versus graphic novel, me personally would pick graphic novel because I'm just so much more of a visual person, and because there are just so few books that I've actually been able to get into and like. I mean, the whole the one I read recently was the most recently.
It was that body one, right?
Yeah, this body isn't big enough for both of us. That was the first one in a long time that I've like intentionally went out of my way, like where I wanted to sit and read more.
Real quick. Sorry about that. I got another question. If I wasn't into witchcraft, what would you be? I don't know. I was Jewish. I had some pretty bad experiences, and I lost my faith connection to that. And I'd always been into like witchcraft, occulty stuff, but I never felt that spiritual, religious pull. And then I did, and it made me happy. Yeah. So I don't know. I'd probably be agnostic. Let's see. Jesus.
Slaps an egg. I am a witch now. Then.
Why does the title remind me of MCR? What?
My Chemical Romance?
Yeah, but I don't know how.
Because it's a long, wordy title.
Oh. That could be it.
But the reason for the name is, like, makes perfect sense with what it is.
Yes. Cat stories. My cat's a little shit.
Mine as well. Except, well, the little one is, the bigger one isn't. The bigger one just like, for years, just like, would never come to us to get attention usually unless we left him alone for a long time, and like would never come into my room, would never even come upstairs or anything. Then we get the little guy and suddenly he has jealousy issues.
Okay, like Binks used to be the opposite. He used to be very lovey and cuddly and friendly, and then also the past year he's been like, no, I'm only like that when I say it's okay.
Oh, exactly.
The body isn't big enough for the two of us is the one about the brother and sister detective in the same body, right?
Yeah, that's the one where they're, fuck, I forget the term.
They have, they have multiple personalities, right?
No, it's because they, there's a specific term for it. It's kind of similar to, like, Siamese twin kind of thing. Mm. But what it says, it actually has an explanation in the book why they are like they are. Like, an actual one somewhat based in reality. It's where, because it kind of has to do with the same reason where it's like two twins fused together. Not always where they're like Siamese why am I like suddenly forgetting all my terms? Not always like they're conjoined twins, but like sometimes there's babies who are born and they'll have like they'll be fused with their sibling, but it's still one kid still. It's just they've like fused with their sibling so they have an extra leg or something, you know? But in the character's case, Zoe and Adrian, they like fused so perfectly to where they basically have one body, but they both split the brain. So like Zoe is 100% right side of the brain. Adrian is 100% the left side, and the story fucking commits to it and doesn't make exceptions to it because this means that Adrian is the cold, unfeeling, like totally calculated, like no vestige. I think that's what it is, vestigial. I think that's probably what it is. And like he's totally cold, totally uncaring, totally like, you know, and like he would be willing to kill someone if he thought it was like quote unquote scientifically or like logically made sense.
Oh yeah.
Meanwhile, Zoe is like extremely impulsive, has a super high sex drive, is like cannot think before she asks, is extremely emotional. Like I think they make a joke in there about how every single week she has like that true love spark with somebody else, you know? She's also like, one is uh, basically one is like 100% will fuck anything, the other one doesn't want to fuck anything at all. And they're also, the body is hermaphroditic, which also makes things confusing. But it's a really good book, and it has a lot of adult humor in it and shit. And it was written by a guy who's like a cartoonist, so you can totally tell the way it's written. It was written by a visual person, which is like perfect for me.
Yeah, it has, like I said, it has really good flow.
Yeah, and like I know one of the parts I read at the very beginning. At one point, there's a fight scene, so they're describing a fight scene, and at one point it says that the twins, they get like their head smashed into a toilet bowl over and over again, and the way the words are written has like little dashes to imply that every word is coming between hits, and it's like so it's like perfect for my brain. And also they have so much like, I love fourth wall breaking humor when it's done correctly, and this book does it fucking tremendously. Like whenever it says, like the two stood silent in a room, a fly buzzed between them, aware of its ability to, or its narrative purpose of breaking the tension, or something like that. And it's just, I would recommend it if you like kind of like adult humor and shit, because it's a good book. But yes. And there's also very good drama in it as well, because obviously if like these two were real people, their life wouldn't be endless jokes. Like the fact that Adrian has a real big issue with the fact that like Zoe likes to fuck people, but they share a body. So like, ouch. So like that sucks for him. And then there's a whole fact that there's a drug that Adrian kind of sneakily takes, and Zoe's kind of unaware of it for a little while. But a drug that kind of like shuts off your the right side of your brain to help you focus. I don't remember what drug it was called, but it basically makes it so it's like gives your left brain control. Mm-hmm. So he does that, so she'll basically go to sleep for hours so he can do shit. There's also a line in the book. The reason why they're a private eye is because Adrian likes the challenge, Zoe liked the aesthetic. Which is like, it's a good book. I remember when I'd like get back from school or whatever, and I'd be during like a really intense part, and I'd get in my car, and for like 10 minutes I'd just sit there and keep reading. And I'm like, I do not have many books like that.
Yeah. Try Amazon, but they probably have it in bookstores too.
Oh yeah, I found it in a bookstore. It caught my eye because it's like one of the few books that has an actual like artsy looking cover.
Oh my god, okay, real quick. I'm gonna have to end the stream after this, but that is something that I hate. I hate people who are like, don't judge a book by its cover. I'm sorry. I have only ever judged book by their covers. I know it sounds bad, but if a book doesn't have an interesting cover, it doesn't have to be like super flashy or anything. But, like, it needs to have something there that has to do with the story, or else it doesn't catch my eye at all. Mm-hmm. And I know that's weird, but, like, yeah.
Yeah, that's how I've just always had a hard time reading, like, just finding books that are good for me.
Mm-hmm. It's why, when I get my books done, there's a couple of friends I have in mind that I know are really good at this kind of thing, and I'm going to commission them to actually do the covers properly, rather than using one of those self-published free cover maker websites, because I'm sorry to say I've read a lot of Amazon books that are self-published with those, and they are never good. First of all, I will
finish editing my book.
I will openly say, I will never have a pet peeve of mine is when you have a character on the cover of the book. Because it's never how I see them in the book or how they're ever described. Like, you could have parts of them or, like, a face cut off, that's fine. But when it's like, here's mysterious-looking aesthetic girl, and then I read it, and I'm like, your hair's not like that, your skin tone's not like that, you never wear this outfit, why is this a thing? Mm-hmm. And it bothers me. Same for the guys. Like, there'll be covers that look really interesting, and they'll have the character on the front, and then I'll read the book, and I'm like, this is not how I pictured you at all. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so.
I need to finish editing my book so I can, like, start trying to see if I can self-publish it.
I got halfway through, and then you said you kept editing it, and I'm like, I'm gonna wait. So once you are done, I'll read it. What?
Yeah, I know. I'm just so, like... I for a while, I got a good chunk of it done. I think I'm at the very least, I'm halfway done with it.
Well, you know what you can do? Again, you can always, because you have the following on YouTube, you can kickstart it.
That's true. Well, it's like, I just got to figure out how that process works, because, like, I am not good with, like, the technical, like, printing side of things.
You should, when we get a chance, hit up Holly and, like, ask her, because she's done it all the time.
Yeah, well, I've looked up some websites and stuff, and there's some out there that'll actually do it where rather than, like, you having to print, like, 50 and then sell them yourself, like, they have ones that'll, they won't even print the book until someone buys it.
Yeah, that's lame.
Or no, like, I'd prefer that, because then I don't have to spend a bunch of money printing a book and then have to, like, sell it from there.
That's okay. Yeah, when you put it like that, that's true.
Like that, it means that like what I mean is that basically someone can order the book and they'll just print it for that person and like send it to that person, rather than like you having to buy the book and print the book and then you have to go sell them, which is hard for me to do, especially because I'm really bad with fucking shipping stuff.
No, I get you. A good thing is talk about it more off stream and stuff. But I know that fucking Amazon was great for a while, but then they fucked with their create space, because with Amazon they had it so that like you would get a kickback of the book. Like you put it out there, and if they bought a digital copy, you got the full price of the digital copy. But for the traditional one, they would they paid for everything and they shipped it out to people. So then you would just get the kickback for writing it because they would do all the hard stuff. But I heard that they've changed their formatting of doing that. But
yeah, well, that's one of the websites I need to look at is CreateSpace, because I mean, honestly, I think the best way to probably get actual actual sales on my book is to do it on Amazon.
Yeah,
because I can't really think of any other way I'm gonna be able to
It's true. Plus, when you do start doing conventions someday, a lot of people have been doing that too, where they have I've seen people sell their novels at conventions.
Right.
And they sell pretty well.
I mean, it sucks because, again, I was, looking at a publishing company, and I know that that makes it so much easier for the process of, actually printing it and shit. But, I would have a feeling if I were to even get a publisher to even look at it, they'd want to change the specific things I don't want changed.
Yeah, that's the hard part about being with a publisher and they'll be hard about it. They'll be because I've seen really bad horror stories of some people who,
Well, my mom even said, well, you just need to tell those publishers that, you don't want, any changes. And I'm like, you have any idea how it would be for me, an unknown author, to be able to make those demands to any publishing company?
Oh, yeah, because pretty much what they're going to say is, okay, bye.
Yeah, exactly. They don't, if I was a big name, of course they'd be like, oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
It's
also why...
Don't touch it.
Yeah.
But, they don't know me. They're not going to fucking care. If I don't want changes, they don't want to work with me.
Exactly. And the problem, too, because a lot of people will argue, well, look at all the YouTubers that got publishing deals. They only got publishing deals because of how big their fandom was.
Yeah. Exactly.
There are multiple YouTubers that I know that are in the millions who are art YouTubers who have amazing, great stories, and they don't get a single book. But then there's some that just happen to get more numbers, and then the publishing company is like, okay, we'll sign up with you, but you have to promote the shit out of your book. And it's one of those, they don't care to help your story get published. They're just this is guaranteed money.
Right. And it's gonna be a process.
Yeah. And that's just it. But once you do get that name, there's a reason why, Stephen King can shit out a book he makes in 3 days and it's gonna sell. Than someone like you or me, because that's gonna be it. They're gonna be okay, we'll change this or change that, or I have seen some.
Well, because mine has a pretty heavily implied lesbian romance in it. I'm pretty sure a lot of publishers are gonna be like, no, take that out.
Okay, real quick, I want to end on this because this is important. What bothers me about that, right, is that there are so many stories I've seen So many. Where the characters just happen to be gay or just not straight, but it's not like the point of the story. This point of the story isn't LGBT, but they will be like, oh, it's a horror story, but 2 gay people are in it. LGBT book. They don't put it in the horror section. They don't put it in the mystery section. They put it in the here's the gay section. That's been a thing everywhere. It's even in libraries, and it makes me so angry.
Yeah. Plus, like, again, because mine, it has an implied romance.
Yeah.
But they don't, they never kiss. Or, like, well, they technically do kiss, but that's besides the point. Not in a romantic way.
Not in a smooches way.
Like, they don't, like, kiss in the satisfying romance way. So, like, you know, it's not a committed to relationship, and I bet a lot of publishers wouldn't like that, you know? They'd rather than, like, have a defined, either they're in a relationship or they're not, you know? Rather than having that gray area. And it's like, I just don't trust that a publisher is gonna, like, keep the integrity of my story in if they would even take me as a client.
So we love the story, but why didn't you just make them a merman?
Yeah, I know, right? Like, why do they all have to be women?
Why with the whammon?
Yeah, and then, like...
Oh, God. I mean, a perfect example of this is just the fact that Harry Potter, when she tried to get it published, the publishing company told her, if you put your name on it, it will not sell, because boys won't want to read it. That's why she went by J.K. Rowling. It wasn't a choice.
Yeah, or like, I bet another thing, like, that they'd want to change is because there's a character at the very, very end of the book that is only there because they need to be there, and he's not an important character at all, but because he's a man, I would not be shocked if, like, a publisher would want me to, like, make that the, like, ending, like, oh, that, like, they got married or something, or they fall, like, they're implied that they're gonna fall in love or something, and I'm like, that's exactly the opposite of why he's there. Like, he's just there to pull her out of the water. That's it. They are not going to get married.
You had one job. Just one.
Yeah, just... I don't know. I feel like I'd do better, like, self-published, at least right now, but it's like, man, it's gonna be hard to deal with, like, to work with.
Yeah.
Especially because, again, the kinds of online books that sell better are the ones that are either instructional or eroticas. So, like,
I mean, to be fair, we can team up and make a really bad porn book and make a lot of money.
I mean, why not, honestly?
I'm not gonna lie, it has crossed my mind, because I have seen how much money these make.
I'm not gonna lie, I'd be down.
And
to make some bank on a bad porn book.
I love bad porn books. I've always admitted it. It is a very proud guilty pleasure of mine.
Listen, like, just the two of us, we make a secret code name.
Jesus.
So it doesn't get tied to us if anyone looks up our names. And
well,
then we just
both of our names have 2 M's in it.
There we go. Just like, and then we just make a really bad porn book, or we could like, or just one that's like funny. Because see, I have a fucking problem for some reason that when I intentionally try to make something bad, my morals won't let me.
Oh yeah, no, I've had that happen too. Because I've tried, I got pretty far, and then I'm like, oh no, there's plot. I have to get rid of this.
Like, oh no!
You can't have this!
So, like, part of me's just, like, I feel like if I tried to make a satirical, like, porn book, it would almost be, like, there's some parts that is actually, like, good writing. It's just, like, the more erotica side just becomes silly.
Oh, well, I mean,
and that's, like, back to plot now, like, you know.
I mean, I told you about that one I read about the lady who's a witch, but they're also gargoyles, but they're also Knights Templar men. And it's like, what? Or what was that one? Fucking, what was that one? Oh, God, it was like, she was the 5th horseman of the apocalypse or something. Yeah, she was virility, V something, and they're like, you are the last horseman, the last horse person. And that's like a line in the book, and I'm like, God, just get fucked by these guys already. That's the only reason you're here.
I'd be so down for like just a really silly porn book.
Oh god, MM Disaster.
Yeah, MM Disaster.
The Lord MM Disaster.
Lord MM Disaster. They are a lord in Europe somewhere.
Jesus. But yeah, no, that's just it. Or like, there's some too where you're just like, I love one of my favorite ones, and I like want to do a video on this someday. I have no idea how I can do a video on it and it not be demonetized. Like, I just have absolutely no idea, but I want to do it so bad. So bad. Well, because my favorite series is the Other World series of literotica books, because they're just so bad. That was the one with the blue alien guy that I told you about.
Yeah, I remember.
It gave me hope and it let me down.
We just need to make a bad porn book, and we have to make sure we have as like many tropes and cliches as we possibly can.
Oh yeah.
Like, intentionally.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta make a bingo card and make sure we get like all the way bingo.
And you have to leave it on a plot twist so they want to buy the next book.
Oh, exactly.
Because all of them are like less than 300 pages. 300's very generous. They're usually like around 100, maybe 200. So they're always really short, and they always end off on a cliffhanger for you to go, oh, I need to waste another $1. Again.
Yeah, we'd be rich.
We would. I mean, I've seen it, because I've seen it, like, you know, over 4 million copies sold, and I'm like, this bitch sells them for $1. She's a genius. Especially when it's all self-published and she doesn't spend any money.
I'm so down with it.
I'm telling you guys, I'm telling you right now, guys, go to Amazon right now, not sponsored, but it is my favorite pastime. Go to the self-publishing section. Go for either 99 cents or free. There are a few that are free to give you a taste. I got one of those. There was one that was a part of this series, and I remember being like, $2.99, I don't know. And it's like, but you can read the first one for free. And I'm like, oh, sign me up, free. And that one, Jesus, that one was about, you ready for this, Morgan?
I'm ready.
It was about, it was our world, it was Earth, because of course. But mythical creatures exist, but every mythical creature that isn't a vampire or a witch works like a werewolf. All of them. So it is about a dragon CEO that works with a mining company who happens to own a mine that's also a mountain. And his cousin is a bear shifter. Because they have to bring up the fact that it's like, there was a scene really early on where it's like, I know, cuz, and in the next paragraph, we aren't technically cousins, but generations ago, one of his clan married one of my clan, so we've been cousins ever since. And I was like, this has nothing to do with the plot, but okay. I'm happy to know that a dragon and a bear got together in some generation. But it's talking about how he's like, I need to find my mate. And the bear guy is like, but you're a player, man. You've never found one. It's like, I know, but I am the last of my kind.
Dun dun.
Who am I gonna leave my CEO mountain corporation to? Because only a dragon can mine in this mountain. And then I'm like, wait, if only a dragon can mine in the mountain, why the hell do you have all these other shifter people working for you mining the mountain? And remember, this is the free book, and then he ends up finding this girl who she thinks her life is normal and everything is just very plain and average, and there's no reason why anything weird would happen to her. And so
she's not like other girls.
No, but it gets better, because every time in all these books, the moment they just look. They don't hear him, nothing. They just see the mythic guy they're gonna fuck. You just get a very vivid description of how they feel. Suddenly.
Oh, of course.
And of course, every time, I'm not like this. I never react like this just by seeing somebody. Woo. So, surprise, surprise, they do the fuckles, she gets pregnant, and then, in a twist, she turns out to be also a dragon. But she never knew it.
Whoa.
And then it's like, and then to read more and read about their son, get the next book, and I'm like, nah, this free one was a ride, but it is apparently a, like, 10-book porn dragon series on Amazon. And I was
so down to write something
I was like, yeah. No, they're not related. She's a part of another dragon clan for some fucking reason. Also, the good ones, the really, really bad ones, are the harem romance ones, because they always try to logic away how they can still have, because you know, people like that jealous ooh-woo, but in the harem ones, they have to have a reason to give them sudden jealousy, even though in almost all of them, it's like in their culture. And I'm like, if it's in your culture, you're not gonna have jealousy about it. But okay, because that was another one I read, where I forgot about that one. Like, I forgot what it's called, but I remember like, the whole thing was, like, in their culture, which, again, they have to all be shifters, because, you know, any mythical creature that's not a vampire or a witch, it just works like a werewolf. That's how it works! So, I remember, because the only black guy was a panther.
Oh, of course.
The only pure white guy who was described as the Disney prince, he was an eagle, and I liked that he was a bird. I thought it was different. Thought it was racist, though. The only black guy was a panther. The only Native American / dark-skinned guy that wasn't that, he was the werewolf. And then I forget what ethnicity the bear guy was, but the bear guy was something else that wasn't white. But anyway, they find this girl who is their long-lost mate, because they were chosen to be mated together, and she was also surprisingly a dragon and just didn't know. But
what do you know?
Anyway, yeah, that's always one. The girl never knows. Which I'm like, can we have one where it's the guy? Like, the guy is the weird one to the women harem? I know that's an anime, but that's
Don't you see, Mitchie? This is our calling.
So, anyway, I remember she ends up sleeping with the American Eagle guy first, and then the bear guy didn't care. The wolf guy was an edgy wolf guy and was like, I have to fight my urges to want to mate with her. I do. So, but then the panther guy was like, why'd she pick him over me? And I'm like, why do you care? You're all gonna fuck her eventually. Like, like, you talk about how this is your culture, and it's been this way for literally millions of years. Why do you care who fucked her first? But my favorite part of that series, besides that moment, was there was a scene. I'm already expecting this stream to be demonetized. Whatever.
Yeah.
There is a part where she is having sex with the panther guy. No, I'm wrong. No, she was having sex with the bear guy and the eagle guy, and the wolf guy is just kind of weirdly watching. And
as you do.
So while she's, being sandwiched, she, like, looks over, goes to the wolf guy, and, like, reaches out her hand. I remember because I bust up laughing so hard I woke up my husband. And she goes to him while being mid-sandwich, and she's like, I'm lonely. And I was like, what the fuck? You are literally... And I'm not a man, but I would be so insulted if I am literally having a good time with the love of my life, apparently, and she doesn't even look at me, looks to somebody else and is like, I'm lonely. I would have been like, alright, bye, go have him.
She's like, well, alright.
Yeah, and I bust up laughing. I woke up Cody, I felt so bad, but I had to leave and finish the book in that sitting, and that book had the most beautiful ending.
Oh, no.
But yeah, these... like I said, shoot for the 99 cents or free. Double points if it's got a shirtless chest of a guy on the cover.
Oh, of course.
Because they're just the best. But that is what I'd love to do. I'd love it be the switch, where it was a guy for once that didn't know he was special. Well, I'm sure the reason...
Here's the thing I will say. I'm almost positive the reason why it's always a girl with a harem of guys is because the target market is women who want to be that main character. So,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's the reason why it's always, because most women don't want to read about a guy and a bunch of hot, sexy women who all fawn over him. a woman wants. That's the reason why like 50 Shades of Grey did so well, because a lot of women wanted to fantasize about some big fancy CEO wanting them, you know. So like I'm pretty sure that's why it's always meanwhile anime is a pretty gender neutral market at this point.
Yeah.
So that's why with books I'm sure they're usually those erotica books are more typically targeted towards women, while with anime it can kind of be targeted towards either.
But see, I wouldn't care. To me that's still
well, you wouldn't care, but most women do.
I know.
Most people buying those books on Amazon would.
But that 99 cents is gender neutral.
I mean, doesn't mean we can't try it.
I know, but
play the market, do something daring.
Oh god. What freaks me out though is the fact that some of them have fucking Audible options. And I have been tempted, but I'm also like, I don't want to waste my credit on that. I don't. Because I'm also scared. Like, reading it's one thing. I don't want to hear the poor reader have to read out the sex scenes. Because that's their job, so they have to say it in the most serious senses.
I know. See, I would like... I'd just do it, but I'd make it, like, such a joke. Like, I do it in the most satirical way possible, because that's just my personality.
Like, there's something I've always wanted to do. I do it with my friends, where I'll find a short one, and I'll, like, read it to them. And I've always been like, I would love to do it on a stream. But I can't.
Yep. What a sad day.
But somebody somewhere we can do it. That can be a party at San Japan. We all puddle around your hotel room. I find one of the short ones and we just have a party.
Oh, yes.
Alright, so I'm going to leave it there, guys, because I am very hungry and very, very much to go to the bathroom. But
kickstart you guys' bad porn book so Morgan Freeman reads the whole thing.
Ah! Well, thank you guys so much for sticking around for this very long, very everywhere all over the place stream. I love you guys so much. Thank you for coming.
Me too.
And smeeches. Bye.